Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the MNC Show. We are live.
We certainly are, and hopefully at a refreshing 30 frames per second at the minimum, crap. We got a great show for you guys today. It is going to be a lot of fun.
Hopefully, runs at much less than that. My life runs at about 24 seconds or something like that. I'm extremely slow.
It's Sunday Fun Day, though, crap. Anything can happen, and that's what's so great about the show.
It is, and anything usually does happen, like all the problems we had pre-show. So
yes.
hopefully everything's running smooth. But yeah, what's up, everybody? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Hit the like button, share it out, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Much appreciated. Mooch, it's your channel. Here I am doing your stuff for you.
That's fine. I have no problem enjoying a coffee while you promote myself. Thank you. Yep. Well, let me just say this much. Crap is right. Please do hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. And, you know, I didn't get a chance on Friday, but everyone that stops by, guys, you can see right above the description is that join button. That join button is where we say, please consider becoming a Mooch Maniac family member. I've got a great list here. I'll read them off quickly as fast as I possibly can on a Sunday morning. Shout out to Sir X-Man, Midway, 7 Monster, JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, Ben Link, TrueWiddy, The Wise Old Gamer, Failed Pyromancer, Frostbite Slash, Jacob Evans, Tactical Gamer, Marlesco, Wraith The Emperor, Eddie T, Anthony Boyd, Zombilla Ice Cream, CustodsX, Hustle and Motivate, L.D.W, our major Mooch Maniacs, the finest, Windingo, 4-star General, Shaun Slamka, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, which I got a great story about Blades as well with the Quest 2 that just recently came out. Audible Fart 507, our VIP Mooch Maniacs, thank you so much. The Mex J88, Remarkable Knights, Van W, a.k.a. the Butcher Van, Rich Kreischer, Rated D Demonic, Percolator 9000, and our honorable mentions. We miss you, Ice Queen Gaming, Wilmy Hood, and Forever Mooch Maniac, Longshot 316. Guys, you hit that join button, you get to be eternally part of the show, and you get to be a part of every Mooch broadcast. That being said, crap, you know, we were talking, and I do want to get Nova in here as well. The three of us were really getting into what we've been kind of gaming and playing on over the past week or so since we all kind of met up last Sunday on your channel. And, you know, I'm going to start off first here. I went back into time, and I decided to look at certain games that I missed on the PlayStation earlier in this generation. And me and you were just having a great conversation. I started up the Order 1886, and you made some good points. I'll let you make your points about the gunplay. But the acting and the story, you know, it's fun. Maybe it's because I'm wrapped up in this whole Halloween gig right now. I think Halloween, anything scary with werewolves, zombies. And this has that, right? It has Lycans, which is werewolf-based. And, you know, it has this odd technology that's seemingly stronger than some of the stuff we have currently back taking place in the 1800s. So this whole secret society of knights that worked for the Queen in England, it's just very intriguing. And maybe it's just I'm older now and I enjoy that kind of story. But boy, I'll tell you, if you guys haven't played the Order 1886, it's not a very long game, but man, it's good, and it's a quick playthrough through Halloween. What was your sentiments, crap? When I kind of mentioned this, you said the one issue you had was the gunplay.
Well, there was a few problems that I had. I had problems with the aspect ratio of the black bars. That was a problem. I don't know if they fixed that with an update or not, but that was a problem that I had. Also, the weight to the guns, I felt like wasn't there. Like they didn't really pack a punch when you're shooting things. Like it just felt like there was not really much of a hit or anything like that. So I had that problem. Like the game was super short or whatever. I guess that could be forgiven. But, you know, also there was the problem with the bosses where like I thought it was cool, but then the boss fights were the exact same thing. Like the end boss fight was the same as this other boss fight.
Yeah.
And some of the chapters weren't even no gameplay allowed whatsoever. It was just like a cutscene or whatever. And I was just like, that's kind of lame or whatever. But I mean, I think it's an okay game. I don't think it's like a terrible game or broken or anything like that. I just think that it's not like a great game. I think it had potential and it has a good story, kind of like Rise. You know, Rise I thought had a really good story and well acted and good graphics, but at the end of the day, I don't think that it did enough in the gameplay department. You know, same kind of thing, right? Like in Rise, you had all the enemies look the same. You know, like they look like they were clones or whatever. Yeah, like I hate that. Like there's nothing that irks me more in video games than that. You know, it bothers me for some reason. You know, it just feels like laziness or whatever. You know,
I mean, this came out in what, 2015
or something. Yeah. Well, actually, that believe it or not, I bought the collector's edition of that game. Was the first game I played on PS4 because that was the first when I got my PS4 because I wanted something graphically that shows me, hey, this is the leap over last generation. So that's why I bought that game. And I mean, I still have the little statue and everything. So yeah, I mean, I liked it. I thought it was okay, but I don't think that it was like, I don't know. There's some people that really go to bat for that game, and I'm not one of them. You know,
No,
I thought it was a good story for sure.
No, I don't think you need to run to get a tattoo of it anywhere on your body.
Yeah.
I shout out to WoolleyGamer, says the order is incredible, best shotgun ever, and shout out to Hustle and Motivate. He says he's making his way through that game as we speak. It's very beautiful.
It is a good Halloween game. It's a good Halloween game. I'll give you that, man.
Absolutely.
It's a good one to sort of go through and play and you know, have some fun with it. You know, I just for me personally, like I said, like there was just some issues. And again, that's nothing that should prevent people from playing it. I think it's like you can buy it most sales for $5, right? So why not? And it does look great. It's an incredible, and it does. I don't think it has an update for the Pro or anything, but it still looks great. You know, it's a really, really, really good looking game. So.
Well, a game that honestly, Nova, I want to get you in here. Good morning to you too, buddy. Nova,
morning.
What's the deal with Ghost of Tsushima Legends? I have not yet got to that. I can't wait to play it later today, but you said it's something just short of remarkable.
It is amazing. And shout out to Wooly in the chat. I know he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, Legends it feels like a completely new standalone experience. First time in a while, I've been extremely impressed with a multiplayer outing from Sony, and wow, this is when it comes to customization, when it comes to the different classes, different types of play styles. I mean, everyone wants a Ronin in their group because that's the healer, you know what I'm saying? Having some assassins are good too. They can stun groups of enemies, and it gets really serious when you're playing survival and you're on wave 20 and it's a boss like level. I think every 5 waves it's like a boss level, and it's no joke. Everyone I've been playing with has been having a great time. The story's good, the matchmaking's good. I like
so
how
the one thing, Nova, that I did bring up with you was that it's not like a battle royale where it's a one and done. You have to continuously update and progress your character, correct?
Correct, yeah. So there is a raid coming out, and I believe the minimum level is level 90. And trust me, just to get up to activities that require you to like get level 90 level items or equipment, should I say, it's no joke. And the one thing I noticed about this game, and it really brought me back to my Destiny 1 days, is you can't really just like do a survival and not be mic'd up, right? You're gonna get into game chat,
right?
If you're not friends with these people, because you have to coordinate.
I completely agree.
Yeah, so there's like the survival is kind of like domination. There'll be 3 different areas, and after each round starts, you'll get like an indicator to see which ones are getting taken over, and you got about 60 seconds to head on over there and defend it. And while you're doing that, another area might be getting attacked, so your team might have to split up. So it's all about coordinating to win. And if you win, you get loot that shows off like the hardware you put in. So once you do,
so is this something where they're going to have seasons where it sounds like they're going to have to continuously update these? Because like you're saying on the map, as you continue forward, right, as your level progresses, you have to have more things to do, more areas to accomplish, right? I mean, is that without playing it, is that something that they're going to have to continuously add to this, or they're done with it? It's good as it is.
I think it's good as it is. I mean, there's whole chunks of this that when you hover over them in the play menu, it says coming soon. So we don't know what the raid's going to be like. And I like what they offer in terms of like, you can play this level on the bronze difficulty, right? Just to kind of get a taste, dip your toes in the water. But you're playing that thing on gold. Good luck. You better have all hands on deck.
Crap, this is a big deal for more than just the game being good, though. This is something where Sony's actually had their biggest struggle, right? Multiplayer aspect of any game on their console. So this is the first time where they're saying, hey, look, we're predominantly focused on this. This is what we're doing. So they've got Legends coming from Ghost of Tsushima, and then you've got Factions probably sometime around the corner. I would assume early 2021 coming from The Last of Us and Naughty Dog. Is this Sony saying, guess what? We want to expand our portfolio and offer more of a multiplayer experience as well as the great single-player experiences we've already given you this generation?
I think they're probably looking to expand a little bit because, when you have some unique experiences with multiplayer, it could drive, adoption rate for PlayStation Plus and things like that. So, I think having something unique would definitely help that and bear some fruit for them there. I think that there's, all kinds of rumors. Again, it's all hard to take rumors for much more than that until it's confirmed. But, supposedly, possibly a SOCOM game coming back or a new Killzone being worked on. A lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people kind of teased by that from the UI. I mean, a lot of times these companies do things on purpose to kind of get interest or whatever. I can remember back in 2013 when the UI for the Xbox One was teased, there was a Crackdown orb. And then Phil's like, "Yeah, we teased it, guys. We teased it. It's we love Crackdown. It's gonna stand. It's gonna stand next to Halo and Gears by the time everything's said and done." Let's just say this is going to be. I love Crackdown. This is the best playing Crackdown that we've ever experienced.
Of course,
it's great. We put a lot of money into it, and we can't wait for you guys to play it. It's a total destruction with the environments thanks to the power of the cloud. The cloud is a real thing.
Love the cloud.
Yeah, it's great. This game is going to be the best Crackdown ever. Play where you want, when you want, with whoever you want, on whatever device you want.
That's right.
And where you want. Yes,
that's right.
Refrigerator. Well, we want you playing on your watch.
And how.
Yeah, so, play in your car. Not while you're driving, of course, but, let me pop my collar and just stuff my shirt a little bit. Got some $100 bills to stuff in there,
Mr. Twister goes, wow, LOL, Phil's voice. It sounds just like him, crap. No,
I'm a man of many talents.
You sound just like him.
What can I say? Yeah.
I think that kind of brings us right into what we wanted to discuss. I mean, there's a couple of different things here. One of the things that kind of irks me a little bit with what's going on in social media and what I've seen over the course of the past couple of days transpire is you're seeing the developer come out for Watch Dogs Legions, and you're seeing the developer come out for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And this is something that me and Crap have said a number of times. Guys, by the way, before I even get into this main topic, please do tweet it out. Everybody that's here, we have 225 people. Please, you all have social media. Take the link that I am putting right now into the chat and let everybody know that we are live right there. You just copy, you paste it. It doesn't get any easier than that. It's about 10 calories. Listen, this is the one thing that's been really getting me. And the thing that's been getting me is we said there's not going to be a major difference when it comes to performance and output this generation. Let's just be honest. Does that mean that maybe a shadow, right, or a particle effect in one particular area will look better on the X? I'm not saying that. But for the most part, when you're going home and taking a game and playing it this upcoming generation, especially the foreseeable future, nobody can really talk about 5-6 years in advance because we're probably going to have mid-gen refreshes anyways, crap. But my point being is for the foreseeable future, right? Well, yeah, and I agree with you on that. It's just literally
if that's the case, I think
money falling out of our pocket, right? Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm with you. But at the same point, I'm trying to say here is 4K 60 for Valhalla on PS5 and Series X. 4K 30 on Watch Dogs Legions on PS5 and Series X. All of this talk about power, and realistically speaking, when it comes to third party, it's going to be parity. They're going to be the same. I don't think when you're talking about 10.3, okay, and I understand T-flops is a bad metric to use in this case, but I'm just going to use basic numbers that everyone's been hashing over the past couple of months. But 10.3 versus 12 crap, when it comes down to it, both of them can do that, and they both have the system architecture and the RDNA 2 that they can do. When one can do 60 frames, the other can do 60 frames. When the other one when the developer feels that the 4K is too stressful with ray tracing, they're going to bring it back and bring it down to 30, and they're both going to fall into that case. So do you see what I'm saying, crap? This big power narrative we've heard for the past 10 months since the Series X was presented at the Games Award show. I'm not seeing it yet. I'm not seeing it first party from Microsoft, and now I'm not seeing it third party from Valhalla and Watch Dogs and even Destiny. Destiny's going to be 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. And they did a chart of all the perks, and it's all the same all the way down both columns for the Xbox and the PlayStation. So, Crap, what's your take after the past 10 months of power?
We're gonna see parity mostly, especially with the big AAA multiplats. I would assume that we're gonna see a lot of parity for them. It's rare for there not to be actual parity between them. Okay, so like a good example of this would be with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X actually has like a 45% power advantage. And we only really saw that. I think like Red Dead Redemption 2 was a good example of a multi-plat that really showcased that. But most things were very much parity. Even like the Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, I think they ran about the same. They ran the same frame rate, almost around the same, I think, resolution. And then you had some instances where games actually ran better. Like I think what was it, Resident Evil 2 remake or 3 remake actually had better frame rate on the PS4 Pro, and they had to lower the resolution on the Xbox One X. So again, and now it's with a much more wider power gap, right? So now you're looking at about a 17% power difference. People were really hyping themselves up for like there's going to be these massive differences, and like even Digital Foundry saying, hey, don't really think that because you're going to be disappointed. They've said it. They've said, I would wait, because everybody was saying, there was even people in comments going, well, wait till we see ray tracing on the Series X. It's going to be so much better, real ray tracing. And John Linneman was like, I pulled off on saying that. You know what I mean? Because again, because people are expecting, I think, and not everybody, right? There are some people out there who are more realistic and just think, hey, these games are pretty much going to be the same. I think where the consoles can shine, if there's some kind of advantage, is exclusives, obviously, right? Like that's where these things are supposed to shine, because they don't have to worry about making 18 different versions of their game. Think about this. For a cross-platform game coming out, what the developers must be just like, I got to hand it to people that are doing cross-gen games right now, multiplats, right? You got to do Xbox One, Xbox One S version, Xbox One X, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, PC, PS4, PS4 Pro, PS5. They've got so many different platforms to sit there and code for that it gets ridiculous. People forget that you still have to ship stuff for that runs on the launch Xbox One, which was like by far the weakest platform, and still utilize that ESRAM and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I can imagine that's a big pain in the butt for developers to kind of get that many different versions out. So a lot of times that's why some of the stuff gets gimped, because it has to run on the lowest common denominator, which is a fact. And like even Phil Spencer has said, yeah, well, it's extra work, when it comes to the Series S now, like he's admitted that. But so thankfully, you know what I mean? Like, again, I think things will be much easier once we get past that point where most games are only next gen only. We'll start seeing, things that really kind of take advantage of that. And I feel like the exclusives are where that's going to happen. Maybe some of the smaller games, they could do stuff, but I think the big multiplats, anything from Activision, Ubisoft, EA, all that, it's going to be pretty much the same. Like right now, for instance, because you were talking about games you're playing through, I'm playing through a few games. I decided just on a whim to start up Battlefront 2 on PS4 Pro. I already beat it and everything on Xbox One X, years ago, but I started playing through the campaign just because, it's like a 5-6 hour campaign just for fun or whatever,
absolutely.
I'm just kind of, I've been working on trophies. I really like the trophy update. So like seeing that kind of evolve a little bit, I'm really kind of getting into that. So I've been, just trying to gain some trophies, and that's like a quick game to kind of just go through. And you know what? I'm playing it on my new OLED, and the game looks gorgeous, right? Like it's the same as the Xbox One X version. So like you can't really tell any differences and stuff like that. And here's the thing. People are going to be counting on Digital Foundry to tell them the difference, right? Which means that there's no difference. If you can't tell with yourself, tell your eyes.
That's a great point,
yourself,
right?
Yeah.
That's what we've been saying about keeping the energy too, right, Crap? We've been saying this since the beginning of this generation. Like when everybody was like, "Oh my God, the 1080p versus 900p version is just unbelievably mind-blowing."
Remember Shadow of Mordor, right? That game came out like on a Friday or something on Xbox One, and nobody had an idea of what the frame rate or what the resolution was. But because it was on a Friday, so Digital Foundry wasn't going to get to it till the next week, everybody was saying it was 720p, right? And it ended up being 900p or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that just goes to tell you, like, people can't really, it takes a real kind of keen eye to be able to tell that.
You have to wait for Digital Foundry to zoom in by 8,000 on a microscope into a wedge of a shadow, right? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So, I mean, real quick here, Crap. Condemned Channel says, thoughts about Xbox getting hot even in idle. We'll get into a little bit of the heat thing. I think the heat thing is really not a major issue as much as we all
We
thought
said
it
that
would
last
be.
week, too.
We said it last week. Yeah, that's
yeah.
not necessarily. And, you know, I want to say shout out to Noof Nukem. Boom, boom, kaboom. Noof is here. He says, I think you will see more 4K 60 games or higher on X, especially down the road. Noof, listen, it's too early for me to say no, that's not true. And it's probably too early for you to say that that is true. And
I think it depends on your definition of 4K too, right? Like,
right.
Are you talking about native 4K? Because there's like asterisks that can go next to that, right? So a good example of that is I think Spider-Man Miles Morales. I think there's a 4K 60 version, right? But it's like dynamic 4K. Okay,
yes.
So like I just think that like what we're going to see is anything that's going to have some ray tracing involved with it. I don't think it's smart to get excited and think that it's going to be 60 frames. I think you're going to see options a lot where they say, okay, well, you can play this at 1440p 60, or you can play it at like 4K 30 with like some heavy ray tracing and things like that, because I think that that's just how it's going to be. So again, I do feel, and then so far with the games that we've seen for 120 frames, they haven't looked very good. I mean, we can look at at Halo Infinite, right? They're like 120 frames. Well, it looks it. Okay.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you got to take, if you got to take those graphical hits, I'll stay at 60. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Those games that are hitting 120 so far do not look very good. Now, listen, somebody will throw Gears up at me. I get it, but that's a last gen game.
Well, the thing
I'm
is,
talking about the new stuff. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting because Noof says native 4K Series X doesn't have that extra horsepower just for bragging rights. But Noof, if you remember right, the console that me and you have in our home right now, the Xbox One X, it was for bragging rights, right? Because except for Red Dead Redemption 2, where did we see that power come into play? And here's the other thing that kind of, I know a lot of you guys don't really think of it this way, but just think about this for a second. If in fact the analysts are right, I'm not even running with that latest analyst that said something like 200 or 300 million PS5. Stop that.
I was like, that's funny. Yeah,
that's ridiculous. But let's just say this much.
Let's say great for console gaming. But
naturally. But I'm saying, let's say next year, June, July of next year, Sony does take that 10 million lead over the Xbox, which is possible because they're expecting to sell 7 million. They said, this is Sony speaking, by March. So if that's the case, and they get a huge lead. My question then, Noof, to you is this. Once you see the install base moving from PS4 over to PS5, and they have that huge install base, the third-party devs are not going to make something ridiculously more powerful and better looking when they don't want to let that customer base on the PS4. They're not. So even if that's true, which that's the thing, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that both of these machines are going to be able to put out basically the same exact output, especially for third party. But I don't think third party devs are going to go the extra mile for the Xbox Series X when it's going to be the lower install base. That's just, I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I could be wrong.
So you have the lowest common denominator, which is the S. So I think that people kind of forget that as well. Like developers have to kind of make sure everything runs on that. So again, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But again, on the Xbox side, they have a different sort of thing that they're going after altogether to begin with. You know, they're going after more like the casual type gamers and stuff like that. So,
right.
I think that's the difference right there. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if they care as much about, I mean, they have a hardcore console for sure, but do they really care about going after that gamer that wants these amazing looking graphically
when it comes down
games?
To it at the end, guys, it's not necessarily just the spec sheet on both of these consoles. It's business. It's business. And a third-party developer is not going to leave a major install base feeling like left out, if you will, or like a lesser of a customer. So we saw that this entire generation. The Xbox One X, it has a larger power percentage over the PS4 Pro than the Series X to the PS5. So I don't I don't necessarily understand how everyone just thinks, well, it'll just get better later. We got to stop with this. It'll just get better later stuff. Shout out to U of M student, by the way. Thank you so much for the super chat. By the way, guys, the super chat's working. Thank God. Adrian Gorin says, bless you, Mooch. I think that's him saying, bless me in the fact that he doesn't agree with me. That's fine. Adrian, that's totally fine. And then shout out to Mr. Twister. He says, developers won't invest extra R&D to make Series X version looking better when PS5 will probably have 80% of the market share. Again, I don't know what the lead will be. And I see Brian Baker with the facepalm. Blades, let me know what is causing you to facepalm so I can discuss it. Shout out to Delirium Blades. But I mean, my thing is this. When it comes down to it at the end of the day, I think you're going to see a lot of parity when it comes to third-party games, especially if Sony takes off with a major lead an install base. Okay, again, we've said this a million times. Shout out to King Thresh Gaming too in the chat. I see all you guys shuffling in, and I truly appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. You know what I mean, Crap? I don't think when it comes down to it at the end of the day, what did we see this generation? One, the Xbox One X had the power advantage. We saw it in Red Dead. Like you said, even Resident Evil, I believe it was Resident Evil 3.
Remake,
right? And that was the one where PlayStation 4 actually had the better performance, and then like you said, when they went back into the Xbox version, they had to take it off of native 4K. They lowered the resolution, and that bumped up the ability to put out the frames. That's a different situation. That's current gen. But I'm just trying to say to you guys, they're not going to just say, oh, the Xbox has that extra horsepower. Let's just make that console clearly the better one. And it's just not how it works. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a developer. I don't pretend to be one on TV, and I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, Crap. So I don't have any right to really say that, but that's just what I'm hearing through social media.
I'm just surprised that people thought that there would be this huge difference between when there's only a 17% different next gen, when there was a 45% difference right now, and you don't even see a huge difference. So I'm just really sort of surprises me that people actually thought there was going to be this huge kind of gulf or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You don't even have to be a tech person to kind of understand that, and it behooves developers to keep their games as close as possible to parity. Like, that's something that's happened even early on with the Xbox One and PS4. Developers tried their best to do that. I mean, whether it was taking out foliage or whatever to be able to match the frame, the resolution and stuff like that. That's what happened. You know, developers try their best to kind of keep things even. And I would assume that that's what we're going to continue to see going forward. It's not going to bode well for the people that are looking for this huge reason. And the reason why they're hyping up multiplats is for the first few years, that's what Xbox is going to really rely on in terms of being able to play multiplats, quote unquote, better. And so if you lose that narrative, there literally is zero real reasons to buy one. So I can understand why people really cling to that whole kind of false narrative that all these multiplats are going to just look that much better, quote unquote, than on the Xbox, you know. And again, most people are going to actually be able to, according to even Phil, have the Series S. So Microsoft once again has the least powerful console going into next generation. It's going to be the most adopted console going into next generation.
And we've already had this conversation that the S, and there's developers that have said that the Xbox Series S may somewhat hold back what both next generation Series X and PS5 can do, because that is the lowest common denominator in the console race. Shout out to the Ashton Luca real quick. She says, Demon Souls.
What's up,
Hey,
Luca?
Mooch. Hey, Crappy. How are my boys today? We are doing a hell of a lot better now that the Ashton Luca is here in the chat. Luca, thank you so much for your support. Outstanding Scumcast yesterday, guys. If you didn't check that out, please go over to Ashton Luca.
What a great name for a...
right? It is great.
It is. That's a
she
great
rocks
name for
that like no one else, too. I love how she does this. So shout out to Luca. Guys, please do tweet this out. I put the link right there in the description. Just copy and paste, guys. You copy, you paste. It takes about 2 seconds. Listen, Crap, there's a lot of things going on also as far as the whole Bethesda thing. I see Nova just put an interesting little tidbit there. I don't know about that though, Nova. That's been that topic that you just sent me and Crap behind the scenes there has been controversial at best. So I won't get into that whole thing.
We'll see.
But I do see it.
Drop. Yeah.
I'll let Crap take a read. Shout out to Onslaught. He says you can't tell the difference between 2 million extra pixels. Then that's a you problem. Most of us can. I don't. Onslaught again. I don't. Well, listen. Before we get into that, I don't know. I can't speak to. But Onslaught, I can tell you this much: it's not going to be a case where one is 1440p and one is 4K. And if you don't believe me, just check out Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and please check out Watch Dogs Legions.
Yeah, 4K 30 on both, or I think 1440p 60. So
right.
yeah,
So it is what it is. So honestly, what I'm trying to say to you is not that if they do it, we can't see it. I'm telling you, they're not going to do it.
Yeah,
they're just not going to do it.
Yeah, there's not going to be that big difference.
That's
sorry,
the problem.
Bud.
I really do appreciate the super chat and you being here. But that's the thing that I'm trying to drive this home. But crap, talking about launch games and launch titles and things that are coming down the line, everyone is very excited about the Bethesda purchase, and rightfully so. I myself personally, you guys know this, I'm a Bethesda fan. If you remember when everybody was throwing all kinds of things at me, tomatoes, and I was getting absolutely just destroyed for loving Fallout 76. Everybody else hated Fallout 76. I was the only one on that hill.
I saw the thumbnail pictures, dude. Like, people are taking the pictures of the game with their thumbs in the. Let's give this game a try now. I can't wait to play Elder Scrolls Online. I mean, that stuff's funny. I think, look, good for them. Microsoft needed to do something to take the eyes off the fact that they have the worst launch lineup in the history of new console lineups, and that was a good way. Even it got me hyped, right? I was like, hell yeah! And then, when you actually think about it and what it means for the launcher anytime soon, you realize it means bupkis. So yeah, there's I mean, it's good, I think, long term, and I think it's going to help do what they wanted to do by putting stuff in Game Pass. Right. But I don't think it does anything short term to really change anything. So
what about this crap? Let's talk about the real part, and I really want to get your take on this. What about the whole thing where there's this big, I don't want to use the word contradiction, but Phil came out recently and did another interview, which I don't know why he even does these interviews. Yeah, remember, he's like, it really is. And shout out to, I can't remember who said it. It was either Supernova or it was Jez77 that used the example, but somebody said something on Crossfire of, it's like that Rick James bit from Chappelle Show, when he's like, I didn't kick mud all over your couch, and then 2 seconds later he's like, of course I kicked mud all over your couch. It's very right, isn't it, all over the place with what he said? Yeah, I mean, are they going to be exclusive or are they not? I mean, I think they should be, but I don't know if they necessarily will be still. I think some will. I think some games will still be multi-plat. The thing is, weird, he doesn't flat out say exactly. So I have this quote here. They asked him, is it possible to recoup a $7.5 billion investment if you don't sell Elder Scrolls 6 on PlayStation? Yes, Spencer replied. Then he paused. He's here we go. Just picture a used car salesman, folks. We got it right here. This motherfucker right here has got we got so many miles on this thing. We don't need to do it, but we do it. Why do we do it? Because we put the undercoating on for free with an upcharge of $2,400. That's right, for free, $2,400. We got it going over here. Yeah. So anyway, Phil Spencer goes, I don't want to be flip about it. This deal is not done to take games away from other player base like that. Right. Nowhere in the documentation that we put together was, how do we keep other players from playing these games? We want more people to be able to play games, not fewer people to be able to play games. But I'll also say in the model, I'm just answering directly the question that you had. When I think about what people are going to be playing and the number of devices that we had, and we have xCloud and PC and Game Pass in our console base, I don't have to go ship those games on any other platform that we support in order to make the deal work for us, whatever that means. Yeah, whatever that means. Yeah, so I mean, look, I get what he said. Okay, so if you look at the question, the question isn't, are you putting these games on PlayStation? The question is, do you have to put these games on PlayStation to recoup your money that you spent on Bethesda? Which he doesn't have to, because if you want, at some point, maybe it'll take them 20 years to recoup that money, but they wouldn't need to put it on PlayStation. But he doesn't say that they're not going to put it on PlayStation. He was asked a question, do you need to put this on PlayStation to recoup your money? And he said, no, they don't. But that they don't have, they didn't specifically set out to take games away from other people. So realistically, he leaves the door open for, whatever. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if something, down the road is also on PlayStation that Bethesda makes, or Switch or whatever. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm not counting on it. I don't care. I have an Xbox. So, if there's something I wanted to play, I'll play it. For me, I don't understand why he doesn't just come out and say, if you want to play Bethesda games in the future, we got a box for you. Right. On a console. You know what I mean? We've got
Just
a console
say that,
for you, or we have a service for you, right?
Yeah, like we have a console for you, or we have a server. We got these multiple things. That's where it's gonna be. Like I don't understand why
that, guys. It doesn't have to be that much
why he pushed it, and that's how it should be.
It should be
you paid $7.5 billion for the company. Be a man, be that alpha dog, right? And go out there and say, hey, if you want to play this, you gotta have to play in our ecosystem.
That's right.
Right? That's the bottom line. I do not understand the pussyfooting around where he refuses to come out and outright say it. You know, hey, if you want to play it, like, man, like you just get the feeling if this was Donnie, like, and again, I'm not a Donnie D fan, okay? But you get a feeling if this was Donnie D doing this, he would say that, you know? And I don't understand why Phil doesn't just come out and say that. Like, to me, that just kind of bugs. Like, say it. That's what you spent it on. Because the problem with Phil is he realizes that he did need exclusives all along, right? He needed them. You need to have something that sets your stuff apart from the competition.
Absolutely.
But he's already been on record as saying that, you know, exclusives aren't the be all end all, and that, you know, it's contradictive or counteractive to what gaming's all about and all this kind of nonsense.
The other thing is too, is if you look at one of the other things, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not quoting him directly, but he's like, you know, they asked the question, could Microsoft or Xbox handle not putting the games of Bethesda on multiple platforms, because could it sustain the $7.5 billion price tag? Listen, he goes, yes. Well, no kidding. Like, Microsoft has bought things for $7.5 billion before, and it did nothing with them, right?
Yeah.
They bought patents and technology and then sat on it. So
just because
look, Phil clearly said crap that they can make it on their own. They don't have to have it on PlayStation. Oh, they could do nothing. They could have bought Bethesda and shut down the studios, and they still would have been okay. Like, Microsoft has that kind of money. So my point being is that's not the true. He answered the question, but the question was completely too. It was just way too wide open. Like, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't necessarily say, Phil, will you put Fallout 5 on PlayStation 5? Will you do that? That's what. Be specific. Can Microsoft sustain not putting Bethesda IP on PlayStation or Nintendo? Of course they could. They don't have to do anything with it. Like I said, they can buy Bethesda and close down Bethesda and sit on it. They can do whatever they want. They have that kind of money, but they're not. They're businessmen. So when it comes down to it, I think they're going to pick different situations here where they're going to take like an Elder Scrolls or games that can be developed into a games as a service, things that really get you lured and attached to Game Pass, something where you want to keep subscribing because that game is never ending. It's continuously added content. But if it's like everyone says, a one and done, you know, and it doesn't have a massive multiplayer following, like, let's just use an example, like Wolfenstein, right? Am I saying it right for you there? Crap, Wolfenstein, right? They can put that on PlayStation 5. They can put that on Switch. They can put that wherever they want, because why wouldn't they want to double down and make that money? And I just want to do these two super chats, crap, then I'll give you the mic back. T-Fly Foster says, stop lying. Gotcha. Ubisoft confirmed Series X runs 4K 60. We didn't say it didn't. We said very clearly that Valhalla, is going to be 4K 60 on the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. There's absolutely no lying going on there at all. True Virgil says, Phil Spencer contradicts himself in one paragraph. Crazy, but I still like Xbox because he has blue eyes, smells great, and has a handsome smile. There you go, True Virgil. Loving the crap sayings. Viewmaster617 says, Bill, you like that? Phil has dealings with competitors. That's why. That may be the case too. And the deal's not done yet. This is rumor, guys. Don't take this with a grain of salt. But crap, the deal's not done yet with Bethesda. I guess it's not complete. So people are saying Phil can't really speak too much to these games yet. He has to be very broad because the deal isn't complete yet. If the deal's not complete and it could fall through, why even announce it yet? It must be pretty far along. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Well, supposedly next year sometime, right?
Okay. So I mean, could it still fall through? I mean, I guess.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could. I mean, remember there were rumors that the Fox deal with Disney could fall through. I'm not sure exactly what the deal is. That's why it's really murky territory. I don't know exactly what kind of constitutes, like a monopoly or something along those lines. But I doubt it falls through. I think it'll definitely go through. And I like, could they go out and buy EA? I kind of doubt that. You know what I mean? I think at that point you're kind of treading on that whole and that whole situation there. So I don't know. I get that, but like, you have to understand that Phil Spencer is always like this, no matter what he's talking about, right? Like that's it's just the truth. Okay, so.
No, I completely agree with that. Well, let's move on to this crap. The PlayStation 5 UI was demonstrated this week. Again, Sony just dropping it out of nowhere. But seemingly, I got to tell you, I was impressed. I like the look of it. And it just gives another level of new, okay? Another new thing to explore and use when you take home your PlayStation 5. And then, of course, the whole debate of PlayStation is currently ready for it has a 4K UI display.
I like
apparently
that.
The Series X is at 1080p currently, but they're saying that Xbox says, don't worry, by the time we launch, we'll have a 4K user interface as well.
Well, did they say that, or did they just said?
They said something like that. They said,
I think they said it could change.
It could change. Yeah. Well, if it's going to change, they're not going to go to 1440p. I don't know. Here's my take with the 4K thing, and I'll leave it here, and I want to hear what the audience thinks. If this was the opposite, I know everyone likes to say this, right? If this was the opposite, okay, if Sony was at 1080p right now and the 4K UI was on the Xbox, like everybody, like what Noof was saying earlier, everybody like, well, there's your power, Mooch. That's the difference. It's just 4K across the board, okay? I don't care if we're talking about icons. I don't care if we're talking about UI. I don't care if we're talking about gaming. The Series X is clearly 4K across the board, and obviously the PS5 can't handle it. It's got 1080p. So what I'm trying to say here is, does the UI matter at 1080p or 4K? Absolutely not. But the fact that the Xbox, again, is either coming in hot or they're having some kind of issue. Like, why wouldn't they, if this was just a simple patch or upgrade, why would they have these test units out to everybody where, A, they are seemingly running a bit hot and idle? That can be fixed with a patch. Okay.
Are they actual test units, though, or is that just something that's going around?
People are calling these test units. They're being shipped to customers in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Test units. The influencers got in the media got these boxes a couple of weeks ago. When we're not talking about 6 months out, they're test boxes. Mooch, take it easy. They're test boxes. They got the boxes 2 weeks ago. We're getting the boxes in 3 weeks. How much of it is a test at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, when you say test, I'm thinking they're legitimately testing it out. It's not a test box. Here's the box.
People
test it out.
Exactly. Like, I was getting in, like, people were trying to, like, kind of make excuses for it, saying, well, these are just not legit consoles. These are just preview units or whatever. Like, are they saying that they're like, are these I think they're trying to say that these are like, beta units or something, which I disagree with. I think they came in these are full retail units. So right. I don't really necessarily agree with that. And again, it is what it is. I think that the consoles overall will be fine. We always see this type of stuff going on. I think at the end of the day, it'll be fine. But I do think that these are just retail units, and, sometimes not everything works right. That's just kind of is what it is.
Shout out to KJ in the chat. He says, take it easy, Mooch. Crap, if this was your channel, I'd have to exit myself off the shop.
You would.
Well, I can't leave. It's my channel.
Yeah. I hear you.
Who's this guy yelling all the time? I don't know, crap. I got to tell you, these things get me so passionate. I get so into it. And you just see so much happen on social media that sometimes you just, like you say, you shake your head. You kind of say, what's going on here? Let's look at what's happening at face value. And at face value right now, I got a Series X, but I'm searching and I'm wondering, what am I playing on this thing when I get home? I'm going to buy Watch Dogs Legions on the X for one reason and one reason alone. I don't have anything else new to play on it.
Yeah, I have that same problem.
I mean, I'm not even saying anything. Jacob Evans says, no, Mooch, go louder. We can do that, Jacob. Thank you, by the way, Mooch Maniac family member. Go ahead, crap.
Not necessarily getting Watch Dogs for that, but I was curious about what I should get.
What are you going to play?
I don't know. That's the thing. I have no idea. Like, I know what I'm getting on PS5, but I have no clue what to maybe call. I don't know.
Shout out to Stress Out 19. He goes, Mooch, take it easy. It's just plastics. So great. I love it. Guys, but, listen, if you guys are out there, let me know. I'm dead serious. Yeah. If you guys in the chat, please tell me. Oh, C-Script says, Mooch, Falconeer. C-Script,
Falconeer.
I think I would play Falconeer if I was sentenced to it. I don't want to play that game. And if you want to play it, that's fine, but I don't want to play that game.
Mooch, what about some up-res Cuphead?
You gonna play some up-res Cuphead?
Some 4K,
not bad, Nova.
4K
That's new.
Cuphead.
At least I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah,
I'm okay, so
Gears Tactics.
Gears Tactics, yeah. I mean, you're a big XCOM fan, so hold on. Falconeer, which is a game that let me just looking at some preview footage. What are you a falcon flying around?
I think you're a falcon that flies around. It's like Echo the Dolphin, but it's a falcon. You're in the air this time. I don't know.
This game looks like it could play on a Xbox 360.
Don't get me wrong. If you like that game, go for it. I'm not going to sit here and say,
absolutely.
I'm not playing that game. I mean, and if that's why you're buying a $500 console for Falconeer, $500. Crap. Listen, I got news for you. You know what? Send me in crap $500, and we'll do a comedy show for you at least an hour a day for a week. But listen, shout out to Percolator for a week. You like that crap? Percolator 9000. I have a feeling those Xboxes that sent out were the ones that were going to be used. Were going to be used for E3 events, but that didn't happen. # who's yelling? Percolator. No. So you're saying the boxes that went to the influencers in the end of September were the ones they were going to ship in June? What do you have, a time machine?
Whatever that means. Oh,
I don't know what that means.
That's
but
something
I love
else.
Just Percolator. I'm a big fan of Percolator. Eric says, just heard PS5 has higher pixel count than the Xbox Series X. Eric, I'm going to take your word for it. That I don't know. Halo Mocha 17 says, Ghost of Legends is fire. Absolutely. People are saying nothing but the greatest things. Guys, please do hit the like button. Guys, tweet this out. I'm putting it right there in the chat.
Imagine getting a free update to a game like that, Mooch, and just giving people all that extra value. You don't have to pay a microtransaction, nothing. Nope. Nothing like that. Again, man. I feel like that's like when people talk about consumer friendly and pro consumer. That's kind of the thing that I look at. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's really kind of what I look at, man. When I play through these games and there's not hitting me up for microtransactions. What's funny is I don't like phone games, and you kind of know that, right? So I was scrolling through something on my phone the other day, and I got this ad for this phone game where you kick a field goal, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you kick a field goal or you power up your thing. And I thought, okay, so I installed it. Literally after every kick, there's an ad. So, I mean, I quickly uninstalled it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's to me, is like when you get a game and you're playing a game and then it's like, well, now buy this to go to complement it. You know what I mean? Like, look, when I buy a game, that should be it as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Like, if they're going to add any more content, it should have been included for that price. I'm not going to spend, double the price to get something that should be in there in the first place. So I genuinely feel about that. Like, that's one of the things that I know people don't realize this, but I was a huge Gears of War fan, believe it or not. And, to charge people $8 for a kill animation, or basically make it so you have to play hundreds and hundreds of matches to get enough to kind of unlock a character or whatever. That to me is a slap in the face. They're basically saying you have to buy that character. You have to buy the stuff to do the character. Otherwise, you're just going to have to play and play and play and play. Like, that to me is nonsense. If you're buying a premium game and it's a $60 or $70 game, then you should be able to get every animation. You should get, you know what I'm saying? You should be able to earn the stuff in a reasonable amount of time. And that's just how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, look at Ghost of Tsushima. Couldn't they have sold us different outfits, and wouldn't the people have bought those, Mooch, to look different? I'm sure they probably could. But did they do that? No, they didn't do that. They could have done that with God of War. I know people go, well, they do single player stuff, but that doesn't mean that people wouldn't have bought guns or skins or, you know what I'm saying? People would have bought that stuff. What I'm saying is they didn't do that. You had the option to get different stuff in those games, but you just unlocked them by playing the game, right? That's my main point. Okay, that's what I've been saying all along.
You know, crap, Red Dragon. Shout out to the Red Dragon who's here in the chat. Really appreciate Red stopping by.
Red? Yeah,
he says they can go ahead. This is going back a bit when we were talking about Phil's comments that he's made in the past week or so. He makes
whatever that means.
Whatever that means. He says they can go ahead and announce they're going to ship the games announced for PS5 on PS5, but they can't say all future games are coming to only Xbox. And he's got like that thinking emoji. So shout out to Red. I get what he's saying there is Phil's come out and said that they'll come out and they're going to honor Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop exclusive games on PS5, right? Because those are the contracts that were in place ahead of time. But that's and Red, if I'm misspeaking for you, please let me know. But he's saying they can come out. Phil said, "Oh no, we'll honor those," so he can speak to those games, but he can't answer the question. Will like Fallout 5 be on PlayStation 5? It's yes or no. Yeah. And like you said, see, and in all honesty, you guys that are all don't understand. We actually think that they should stay on Xbox.
I do. Yeah.
They should stay on 100%. Xbox. Do I think 100%. They will? I'm still maybe 70-30 thinking they will, but I think there's still a 30% chance they end up on PS5. Some of the games, like I said, like a Wolfenstein, right? And a what's the other one there? Crap, I'm drawing a blank here.
Dishonored.
Say again?
Dishonored?
Possibly like Prey, Dishonored. Those games that are play the game, enjoy the single player, you're done with it. That's something I could see them taking advantage of having multi-platform. But games like Elder Scrolls, Starfield, that's Xbox all day. That's Xbox. Yeah. And I don't think there's anything that anyone would dispute. Shout out to Punk Kiddish. She says, Mooch, you have me cracking up. Punk, that's our job. Guys, you know, a lot of things, so a lot of you guys are new to the channel that are stopping by in the past year or so. Guys, me and Crap and Nova, we like to have fun. So, I'm excitable on the microphone. Crap gets you going a little bit, but it's all for fun and games, guys. It's entertainment and gaming.
You know what the funny thing is, which is people think that we're against them keeping them exclusive. I think they should. Right? If you spend $7.5 billion, I would make every damn thing exclusive. I've milked that shit for all it was worth. You know, that's how I think of it anyway. Like, I think that realistically, you have to have stuff on your platform not available else on the competing platform. And I feel like that's something that really makes these people don't understand in this day and age that that's what kind of drives the industry. If everything was available on everything, if I could play Nintendo games without a Nintendo platform, I guess I would never buy a Nintendo platform. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's just that it's like, and people would do the same thing. Like there would only be one console, and they would be free to charge whatever they wanted, or you know what I'm saying, or do whatever they want, and you just be stuck with it. The fact that we have options is is great, and the reason why we have options is because of competition. So that to me is the big deal and the big difference maker between these companies. So yeah, I think that like you need that content. Not available everywhere. Like Sony gets it, Nintendo gets it. I think Phil is late to the party getting it. But you know, I think it is starting to get through his thick head that you know finally you have to have something that's different that distinguishes yourself from the other people, and that will do it. You know, if you got Elder Scrolls 6, that'll do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like if you've got Starfield, that'll do it. If you've got Fallout 5, that'll do it. You know,
well, and that's a reason to buy. Go ahead, Nova.
Oh, I just want to add on to that Crap. I mean, we all remember for the Xbox 360, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. That was only on Xbox 360, and me and a lot of my PlayStation buddies back then, I remember looking at all the game magazines or the YouTube videos of people playing Morrowind, and I was like, damn, man, that might be a reason why I'd want to get an Xbox, just because I can't get that anywhere. And that was a third-party exclusive. I think came out on PC later, but still,
Oblivion was also an Xbox exclusive, was it not?
It may have been for a little bit, but it did come out for PlayStation eventually. But
did it come out eventually for PlayStation?
Yeah,
okay. I just know a lot of my friends back in the 360 era were like, I would go on, your friends list, you see everybody at night, and all of my friends would be playing like Oblivion.
Shout out to Oblivion.
I was like, wow,
love Oblivion.
So that's the right thing to do. Shout out to Percolator 9000, who's coming back in the super chat after I asked him if he had a time machine. He says, Mooch, of course I do. I'm very good friends with Dr. Strange. Have you guys tried the Call of Duty beta yet? Have a great day, guys. Percolator 9000, thank you so much for being a supporter of the channel and those super chats. I have not tried the beta. I did play the Cold War Alpha. I heard the beta performs much better. So I have not. I will.
I thought the alpha ran pretty good though. So
the alpha ran pretty good. I wasn't like blown away by the looks of the game. It still looked like it was an alpha. So I gotta say, like, I think that Call of Duty myself personally, just because of where my friends play Call of Duty all the time, and just easier for me and the family, I'll be buying Call of Duty, probably Cold War. I'll have to double dip crap. So if anybody got a code for that, let me know. Could definitely mooch that. I'll be getting it on Xbox and PC. But Xbox first for sure. Just because, like I said, that's just everyone that I currently play Call of Duty with crap is on Xbox. So I'll probably do that first and then see what happens.
Most of my friends have left the platform. So I mean, I know people kind of laugh at that, but it's like literally, I think like one of the few people left on my friends list, man. Everybody else I know has pretty much kind of left the platform or whatever. So it's like it's difficult for me to go, oh well, it's an easy thing to say. Get Call of Duty on Xbox. Like, what's the point?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a multiplayer game, but my friends aren't on the platform anymore. It's just it's unfortunate. Like, I know people want to act like it's just me being negative all the time, but my friends who aren't even podcasters or anything like that grew stale of Microsoft, and grew stale of the lack of exclusives and the lack of content, and just the lack of anything really. You think I'm the only one that noticed that they sold us a $550 box 3 years ago and put out 3 first-party titles that really supported it in that entire time? Like, I'm not the only one that's smart enough to pick up on this stuff, people. So, you figure there's even my older brother, who was the most casual gamer ever and has been Xbox and always had an Xbox. One day, just in a random conversation, he says he got rid of his Xbox and bought a PlayStation and PSVR and Spider-Man, and he's just having the time of his life gaming, with his family. Love it. And he's like the most non-gaming person ever. He's super casual, has a little girl, a little kid, and all that kind of stuff. And he says that he's on PlayStation, because he got tired of the lack of games and stuff. So and if somebody like him understands that, then I think that it's a much wider problem than the little echo chamber.
Right. My friends are split. I have 2 dedicated, and they're casual. Like, literally, they're casual. They play Warzone, Fortnite, Madden, and 2K. I mean, right? I mean, that's the epitome of it. And so 2 of them are PlayStation guys. They've been PlayStation. They will not change. They've got their PS5s. They're going to go. That's what one has one pre-ordered. One does not. They're like, I'll get it when I can get it. You know what I mean? The other 2 friends that I have that are Xbox guys. And it's interesting because they're not sold on the Series X. They literally have said to me, hey, they know I'm doing this and I'm talking about games all the time. They said, hey, so where are you leaning? I said, well, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I'm going to have a Series X and I'm going to have a PS5. So, wherever I don't want to influence them. I said, whatever you guys choose, I'll be there for you guys. If we're playing that game, I'm going to play over there on Xbox. If you guys are going, but it's funny, the Xbox guys, the guys that have Xbox Ones and not PlayStation 4s that are my friends, they're on the fence. They don't know whether to jump over to PS5 or stay with the Series X. They're literally in limbo. The PS5 friends that I have, and again, guys, this is a small sample size. This is just fun for debate and discussion. But the PS5 friends I have, they're like, no, the PS4, they're like, no, we're going to buy a PS5. That's an interesting thought, I thought. You know what I mean? I said, wow, I got the Xbox guys going, well, I might jump over to PlayStation, not sure. And the PlayStation friends that I have that are casuals are like, no, we're going from 4 to PlayStation 5. Like, that was interesting that they didn't seem wishy-washy on maybe going the Xbox way. So that's just an interesting thought as well. Shout out to TrueWiddy. He says, have you guys tried Ghost of Tsushima Legends? I have not, but Crap and Nova did. We talked about that earlier in the show, TrueWiddy, but thank you so much for the super chat. Crap, let's move on to this here. So Cyberpunk got another showing, and I will say this much. Even though I still have absolutely, all these showings they're doing, I still have absolutely no idea what this game's about. And we had a great discussion on this on Crossfire this past Friday. I don't know what the game's about, but I will say this much. Every time I do see a new trailer or show that they put out, CD Projekt Red, I got to say the game is beautiful. I do got to say that the idea of playing in a cyberpunk world, right, and having that massive of a place to explore for a lot of people is very appealing. And the fact that you can have so many options, not only with your character, but the way you take your character through the adventure, that does maybe itch a scratch that we've all had, right? Or scratch an itch, pardon me, that we've been looking for a while now on a console game that we haven't really had. Even though Red Dead Redemption 2 is a great game, I loved it. It was, I don't want to use the word linear, but it was fairly linear in the sense of the story. But it sounds like in this game, you can make a decision and throw the whole game out of whack. And so many things to do that are outside of the realm of the main missions.
Totally whack, bro.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, the difference. I'm saying I throw it out of whack. Game. But yeah,
no interest. No interest. I know people look at me like I'm crazy. None. Just listen. People think that it's whatever because they go, well, what are you into? I'm into a lot of different games, right? But one thing that I'm most certainly not into is first-person RPGs, right? That's so lame. I don't like it. Like the whole point of RPGs is you get new stuff that you equip and different looks. And how can you look different if you're in first person? Like I don't like that movement. It's like I like first-person shooters, right? But at the end of the day, I don't like the feel and the look of and playing RPGs that are, first person. Even when it comes to, it has to have a good third person option, right? Like, so if you go back to, I think Elder Scrolls Oblivion, a lot of people love that game, right? But it had a really janky third person mode. I couldn't stand it. They fixed that in Skyrim, so I could finally play Skyrim fully in third person. It was great. Okay, but it has to be a really built from the ground up third person option. So I do not understand why they would go from Witcher, which is third person, to a first person type thing. Maybe it's easier to make or quicker to make. I don't know what the deal is, but I don't know. To me, it doesn't look great.
Crap. Do you like the setting?
I don't know.
And more power to. I'm not saying it's not going to be a great game. I'm just saying more power to people if they want to play that game. For me personally, not my cup of tea.
Crap, do you not like the setting of the game or something like that? Like what would make it?
I think the setting is kind of cool, but I just don't think that the first person aspect is very appealing to me personally. Now that's not to say Hellheimer won't buy it and I won't have it, right? But that's gonna be one on him to actually buy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. I'm not gonna buy that.
I think my thing is this with this game. So the main reason I'm buying this game is I'm buying it on PC, because I think the game is gonna have a lot of issues out the gate.
I think it's going to have issues on PC. If you look at Witcher 3 on PC, it had the most issues.
I agree. I'm trying to get the spectacle, the darling effect out of this game. You know what I mean? I want to see this thing with the ray tracing, all the bells and whistles. That'll be available on PC day one. The upgrade for Cyberpunk 2077, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, I believe has been bumped out to next year sometime. If I'm wrong, please do correct me. So you're going to be playing the game. It'll definitely be better looking on the PS5 and Series X than your consoles of today, but you're not getting that full effect of next gen until next year. That's why I chose to go with the PC version in this particular case. Because the game, just like Witcher, I don't really feel like that I'll ever really be finishing this game. It sounds like it's 300 plus hours at least.
Yeah.
But listen, it is one of those things that everyone's going to be talking about it for a while, especially the Xbox community, because when it goes back to our last subject matter, what will you be playing on the Series X? Everybody either says Cyberpunk or Valhalla. And if they don't say that, they say Left 4 Dead 2 in 200 frames. Or I get something of that nature. So it's going to be a big game, especially on Xbox, because it's going to be one of the new IPs. That's a big game. The power of the X will definitely help advance that. The power of the PS5 will also help that further along. But the true next-gen feeling that comes out of Cyberpunk won't be till next year for consoles. And that's why I decided to go with PC. Shout out to everybody that's here, guys. Please do tweet it out. I put the link in the chat a bunch of times. Just copy, paste it, send it out there. All of you guys have so many loyal followers on social media. Please let them know that you're here and you want them to be here with you. That being said, crap, what else is really kind of... I did see that we got a Spider-Man Miles Morales game. Gameplay shown off. It showed the loading times coming out, or the lack thereof. There's almost no loading times at all after you beat a sub-base area in Spider-Man Miles Morales. He shoots right out, and you are right back to swinging through the city. Whereas in the PS4 version, you had a loading screen that could take anywhere up to 15 to 20 seconds before you were put back into the city. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw it. I think it looks really good. It's a really good sort of way to explain in detail and show off how the solid state drive is going to work and affect games on the PlayStation 5. Clearly a huge advantage there, and I got to say I really like that. So what was funny to me was in that interview with Kotaku, they asked flat out, and look, I'm not a big Kotaku fan, but at least they asked Bill some tougher questions, right?
Yes,
like about one of the questions was whether Microsoft will eventually offer faster solid-state drives in new Xbox consoles to compete with the, quote, blazing fast solid-state drive speeds in the PS5, which are expected to radically reduce video game load times. And Phil Spencer says, like, this doesn't bode well for people that are okay. So what do you think out of this? He says, I think like you've seen in past generations that we will iterate on hardware. We've already started, right? Our team doesn't go away when we kind of look at specs. Some of it is cost. There's always an important thing. How do you drive down the cost of a console and the parts that are there, but also just looking at areas in terms of what are the iterations that you might do next.
Yeah.
Does that sound like they're going to do like a mid-gen refresh again?
It does.
It's and here's the thing. Here's my thought process behind that, right? So you've totally screwed Xbox One X owners, right? And I know there might be somebody who goes, but I love playing my multiplats better. That's fine. But in terms of first party support and all the promises that were made, so for 3 years we got 3 AAA games that realistically showed off the hardware, and 2 of those were Forza games. Okay, now going into next generation. Already, you're looking at basically almost most of the first year that their new consoles are on the market having maybe a Halo. So in 4 years, 3 different consoles and a Halo game. You know what I mean? And 2 Forzas and a Gears. Okay? You're looking at maybe Microsoft getting things going in 2013, or excuse me, 2023, 2024. So you're still a few years out. So basically they're saying by the time they're ready to start pumping out these games that could take advantage of the Series X, they might have a Series Y or a Series C. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm glad you brought this up, Crap. I've got to kind of bring this up. So I've been saying this week in and week out, and I don't think anybody is picking up what I'm putting down. What I'm saying to you is this. Let me reiterate a bit of what Crap said, and then I'll give my point on it. When you look at what Xbox has coming first party, okay, I think everybody, even the Xbox guys, please walk with me on this one, okay? You've got Halo Infinite that's rumored to be coming out next holiday, right? Or if it's not rumored and they said it will,
well, I still think. Once he said he's still open to it, maybe releasing in parts. Like, how far away is this thing?
That's what I'm saying. I don't even think it'll come out next holiday, or not the whole game. Maybe part of it will. But again, using what Crap just said, let's ride with this for a second. If Microsoft's games like Avowed, Hellblade 2, Fable are all coming out 2023, guys. 2023, we are going to see possibly by the end of that year a PS5 Pro, or in early 2024 a PS5 Pro, or an Xbox Series X2. Okay, I don't know what they're going to call it, but I'm just trying to say to you. So this whole power narrative that Xbox has, okay, that they have right now, by the time their power is truly implemented in 2023, 2024 with their first party games, PS5 is going to have a Pro out. And then it's going to be, they're either going to be even closer than they are, or maybe even Sony doesn't want to lose the power crown and they maybe go up a bit. Who knows? Who knows? So my point is by the time Microsoft gets its feet going, right, and they get out of this mud they're in right now, and they get the first party games coming out, which they are going to be coming, the PS5 Pro is going to be out, and according to Phil, the next iteration of Series X. So that's what I'm saying. Right now, you've got third party with parity, with Watch Dogs Legions and Valhalla. And then you've got Sony that has a really, listen, whether you like the games or not, that's something that is a case-by-case individual basis. I can't change your mind. You can't change my mind. But when you go to pick up your PS5, you have Miles Morales. You have Spider-Man Ultimate Edition. You have Demon Souls. You have Godfall. You have Destruction All-Stars. You have Sackboy. Okay, and then you have the deals with like Call of Duty. So what I'm saying to you is, then you turn around and say, "Well, Mooch, come on, Xbox has deals." What?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like they have a third party deal with Valhalla. Okay, but like, what does that really get you? A different coat in the game? A different branding on the axe? Like, what does it get you that they have the marketing deal? Nothing. So nothing substantial. Pardon me. Nothing substantial. So that's what I'm trying to say to you guys. And that's when you say the lead up to next generation. Mooch, are you excited? I'm excited, but I'm a little bit more. If you look at the scales tip a little bit more on the excitement of PlayStation, only for one reason: the games. And it's funny, you know, when we would only talk about Xbox when we would only talk about Xbox, people are like, Mooch, you've got to look at it this way. You've got to start looking at this industry as not Xbox versus PlayStation, but it's where are the games, right? And so all I'm saying is this: I'm getting both consoles. It is about the games. And if it wasn't about the games, I wouldn't be buying Cyberpunk 2077 on PC, because I want to play that game in its best ability on that console. But the PlayStation, the reason I'm excited for it, I'm not excited for the PlayStation 5 for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I'm excited for PlayStation 5 because of the games I just listed off. Godfall can be played on the PC as well. I may double dip. But you've got the Miles Morales, the Ultimate Edition, Destruction All-Stars, Sackboy, Demon Souls. Like, that's why I'm excited for the PlayStation 5. And when people say, Mooch, aren't you excited for the Xbox Series X? I am. But Microsoft they haven't given me a first-party game, a platform game to be excited about. Yeah. So that's where I am. And guys, that's all I'm saying. It's not about fanboyism or anything like that. It's supposed to be, where are the games?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying to you is by the time Microsoft's games come out in 2023, 2024, the power narrative is going to struggle again, because you're going to have mid-gen refreshes. And you're going to give Sony the 2-3. Who do you think Sony? You think Sony's only got these launch titles coming out and then they're done? They're not going to make anything else? They're not going to. They're working on stuff for 2023 and 2024 too. Crap.
Yeah. Listen. You're probably gonna, like, people keep forgetting that, man. You're gonna have a Days Gone sequel. You're gonna have a true full-on sequel to Spider-Man at some point as well. Naughty Dog's gonna have a new game as well. There's a lot of stuff. There's rumors of a new Uncharted so they're gonna have a lot of games too. It's not like they're sitting still. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people think Sony's developers are sitting still. That's not the case. They're out there, doing games, and they're releasing. It seems like games at a much quicker pace than Microsoft Studios, and just because they have a lot of studios, Microsoft, you still have to have that leadership, and you still have to have that drive, and you still have to have that something there that really sort of puts out like a quality game, and like that's what Microsoft has to prove. I hope they prove it. I do think 2023, 2024, those could be potentially huge years for Xbox, but I think in terms of like the console space, they'll already be so far out of it by that point. But hey, by that new analyst point, they'll be 200 million consoles behind, right? I mean, that's just a joke, but yeah.
Well, shout out to Capone in the chat. He says here, if I just scroll up a bit, he goes, Mooch, nobody's talking about Destruction All-Stars. Listen, Capone, Capono, I agree with you. No one's talking about Destruction All-Stars, but nobody talked about Rezo Gun either. Right? Yeah. Nobody talked about Rezo Gun. But
what the funny part is, Mooch, and I'll say this, right?
People enjoyed it on PS4 when it launched. People are going to play. People will end up picking it because it's when you have launch title games, people buy them because those are the games present at that time. Yeah. And that period of time.
And not only that, what the funny part is? People go, man, all Sony does is these one and done games that, with these linear or these open world over the shoulder type games. They never do anything different. And then they come out with something like Destruction All-Stars. I'm not going to pay that much money. I'm not going to buy that. Who wants something like that? You know what I'm saying? Then they do something different and people complain about it. It's like, come on, listen, it looks like a fun game. It looks like something different. It looks like something, and I bet people are like, I'm getting it. I'm interested in it. I want to play it. So, I think that people that should probably give it a chance, that the ones that are sitting there complaining that all Sony does are these one and dones. Well, here's a multiplayer game with a single player that, isn't a one and done. And I think that people should probably just, I don't know. It's like they say one thing and then the way that they react to something like this is just kind of
crap. Let's be fair. You gave a great example right there. Let me give another Capono. Let me give another example to Capono. Myself personally, you guys know this. I've been saying it forever. I didn't like Rise: Son of Rome. I didn't like Rise, but I bought it.
Yeah,
because it was a launch title.
I did too. Yeah.
Right? I bought Rise didn't do well, and it gets credit now for still looking amazing, but it's still not a great game. Like it's okay. But people played it was my point. Like Resogun wasn't great. Like it wasn't. But like people that I know that got PlayStation 4
sure love that game.
What's that?
Colin Moriarty sure loved that game.
He said it was like his game of the year for like the first 2 years of PlayStation. So I mean that's fine. And certain people thought Rise was amazing. And there's going to be people, believe it or not, Capono, there's going to be people that think Destruction All-Stars is great. I'm not going to say it's great, but I bet you it'll be fun. Wrath the Emperor says, I'll be getting Destruction All-Stars. Reminds me of Twisted Metal. It does to a certain extent. Seems a little bit more of a happier theme than Twisted Metal, but nonetheless. Shout out to Def Jam Bam just woke up too, crap. So I just want to make sure
What's
that.
Up?
Good morning, Def Jam Bam.
Yeah.
I missed Def Jam Bam in that sound bar.
Yeah, dude. Sound bars are all the rage, man. I have one. It's pretty kick-ass.
All the rage, absolutely. Well, he's been promoting that for years. Crap, where you been?
Yeah, listen. I think, like I said, like people just assume that we're just haters or whatever. I think they're gonna do really well in a few years. I just think that when it does come down to it, like Sony has a good offering of different things. Like they have a destruction game like that, and they have Demon Souls, and they have Spider-Man, and and they have Sackboy, which is a platformer. Don't people realize that they have this plethora of first-party output? Like the game comes with Astrobot, so that's a platformer that you get. Like they have all these different genres, like a car game. They have
about that.
Yeah, they have a car game. They've got like this RPG. They've got like an action superhero game. They've got a little bit of everything. And people would rather go, well, nobody cares about Destruction All-Stars. Well, tell me something that anybody cares about that's launching on Xbox. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. Anything. Like, and guys, again, it's not. I know when you hear crap say it like that, it sounds like it's just flat out only one way. But like, what is there? Like, if you say Valhalla, you could play that anywhere. Yeah. If you say Legions, Watch Dogs Legions, you can play that anywhere. So I don't know what is it that we're and it's a genuine question. I'm asking. I've been asking for weeks. Shout out to Matty Beast.
I have an answer for your question, Mooch.
Go ahead, Nova. What'd you say? I apologize.
So, next-gen Xbox players are excited to, let me get a drum roll on this one. They're excited to play Final Fantasy Remake Part 1.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Okay.
How's that for an answer to your question?
At least it's an answer.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Red Dragon. Red Dragon says, you're a flip-flopper and a pony, though, if you point out that Xbox has completely dropped the ball this launch. Biggest issue last gen is still an issue. Truth is treason in the Empire of Lies. Shout out to Red Dragon. That's the thing. Microsoft has done things to make the future better, but since they kind of took their foot off the pedal in 2015 on this generation, wouldn't you think by 2020, 2021, they'd be like full steam ahead? Like they'd be like, all right, let's show them what we got. That's what I talked to a few people behind the right. You like that? I talked to a few people behind the scenes about a year ago. Year and a half ago, and these guys have decent sized YouTube channels, and they were saying to me, they're like, Mooch, wait till you see what Xbox has coming down the pipe. I've heard very, very good things, and some of the things they said, they were very vague, but they nailed it. The acquisition studios, the different consoles, blah blah blah. The whole thing they're doing right now, it's great. xCloud. But the thing about it is like, at the end of the day, it's the games, and what games are we playing in the next 12 months on Xbox? And again. Listen, if you guys like Falconeer and you guys want to play Left 4 Dead at 200 frames, that's fine. But like, PlayStation's going to have a huge back compact catalog. They're going to have games in their boost mode, which up the frames and the fidelity and the look of the game, right? So what I'm saying to you is that back compat thing, that's a great thing to bring with you. It is. I think you're entitled. Yeah. We're all entitled to it. You made a purchase. The game should come with you.
Let me ask you this,
I'm
Mooch.
not excited about it. It's not that exciting.
If Microsoft were launching with 5 first-party games, a Forza, Halo, and some great, and Sony were touting backwards compatibility and playing old games better, and Falconeer, what would Xbox fans be saying?
Oh my God, it'd be a mess, an absolute mess.
Of course, they would be saying the truth. Which the truth is, Xbox has a piss poor launch lineup. They didn't plan well. And, they're doing the best they can to sort of kind of deflect the fact that not only do they have a piss poor lineup, but they don't even have anything. Like, we know that there's games coming in 2021 for touchdown already. We know that there's games coming in 2021. We know Horizon Forbidden West. We know Gran Turismo 7. We know Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Possibility of even God of War Ragnarok. There's also smaller stuff. There's going to be stuff like Returnal. There's going to be Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo that are going to be timed year exclusives. Possibility of the new Final Fantasy. Kenna, Bridge of Spirit. There's a ton of games.
Yeah.
Right, with potential to release.
Well, crap. Heath Stevens says, Mooch, let's not forget, PlayStation's probably going to announce PSVR 2 end of next year.
Yep. Yeah.
That could be coming down the pipe as well. That's a whole nother. And listen, Crap has been very big fan of VR. Very big fan of VR.
I am. And I love it.
I came around. I didn't think I would, but I did. I have the Rift S, and I actually just got it's en route. I did end up grabbing the Quest 2 because
nice.
I wanted to.
A PC or no?
No. It's the untethered.
Gotcha.
Completely crap. Like there's certain games that you do need to stand and play for VR. You guys know that. But there's other games like I'll say Walking Dead. What is it called? There's Saints and Sinners or something like that.
Yeah.
That game you don't necessarily have to be standing to play it. So it'd be fun to be able to put on a wireless headset, sit in your family room, and be able to enjoy a VR game crap without having to be in the office where you record and do work. And you know what I mean? It just gives another option, and it's awesome. I want to say shout out to MexJ88, who's a Mooch Maniac family member, buddy. Thank you so much, MexJ. He says, maybe Sony doesn't do the Game Pass model, but Legends just feels like Sony about to enter the live service model, and that's scary and exciting. That's interesting.
I don't see why. They've been doing like some little stuff like this for a long time, to be honest with you. I mean, they did. Look, Days Gone had a horde mode added on later, right? We're going to get a full-on expansion for, it's not even an expansion. It's just its own thing now, factions, right? They're just wanting to kind of branch out and do a little bit of everything. I think that that's incredibly smart. And it doesn't mean that they're going to do, they've already commented on the Game Pass thing. And we know why they won't do Game Pass, a situation, because obviously it's not making money. I hate to be that guy, and I bring this up all the time because they listen, and people can go check the facts themselves. Netflix, which is what Microsoft compares Game Pass to, hardly makes any money. Last year, Netflix made $2 billion, and that might sound like a good amount of money, right? But think that last quarter, PlayStation alone made almost $6 billion. Okay, last quarter versus last year for Netflix, and Netflix has 150 plus million subscribers, and you might go, that sounds a little off. You know what? And that's with fancy bookkeeping that they're able to do that, because you know what happens? You can't count the money that they're making. Like, they have all them subscribers, but they're paying something $8 billion worth of content to produce. So even if they make $10 billion, only two of that billion is revenue or whatever. So Microsoft, the cost of their purchase, that's $7.5 billion. The cost of getting EA Play in there, whatever that probably cost over $1 billion. Available in there. Halo Infinite production, 500 plus million. Gears 5 production, 200, 300 million. The games themselves, these studios, everything is a cost into Game Pass. So they don't make any profit until that stuff is paid back. They could literally have 100 million subscribers right now and still would be making bupkis because they wouldn't be making back enough money to pay all that stuff back yet. So that's basically how it works. So everybody that thinks they're making a ton of money and Microsoft has to go and do, or Sony has to go and do the same thing, Sony's making $1 billion plus off of having Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima sell back-to-back months.
Right.
They're not hurting. They're not in a big hurry to go copy what Microsoft's doing and have this money pit.
Crap. Let me ask you this question though, because it does kind of overlap what you were just saying. If Microsoft continues this path of buying like the Bethesdas, and then there's a rumor right now that they may buy like am I saying it right? Adobo or
Adobe?
Studio? No. The team that made, I believe, oh god, they made the game with the rats there. I can't remember it now. Plague Tale or what? Nova, you know what it is?
I actually didn't hear about that. So this is
it's a rumor. I'm just saying it's a rumor that they may pick up. My point is that do you think that PlayStation will eventually start to buy not necessarily, $7.5 billion studios and publishers. But do you think that they're going to start to scoop it up only for one main reason? Not to compete necessarily with IP for IP, but, just like I gave an example a week or two ago, the reason the XFL didn't make it was there just wasn't enough talent. The NFL was grabbing all the premier talent out of college, etc. If Microsoft keeps buying development team upon development team, Sony's going to be forced to at least buy some of these developing teams or make them larger offers that they normally wouldn't to grab the talent. Does that hold water? Thank you. Shout out to Phil Pyromancer, A Plague's Tale. But they're rumored to buy that team as well. So my point being is that something that maybe kind of not scares Sony, but puts Sony in a corner saying maybe you need to look at some IP from Konami and make a purchase, or maybe you need to buy Kojima Productions, or maybe you need to go and discuss with Capcom some deals that you've had where you've had exclusivity before, but maybe you need to purchase the IP because they need your money to make the games anyway. Do you think Sony will make some moves moving forward if they see Microsoft continue to grab a lot of talent?
I don't think they're going to go and buy anything huge. I think they could pick up something like Blue Point or Remedy, some of the smaller ones like that.
Kojima Productions,
yeah.
maybe.
I mean, you could probably pick up 3 or 4 studios like that, like what we just mentioned, for under $1 billion, and they'll be competitive and could possibly even be some better studios. Because if you look at the studios that Microsoft got, they got a couple really good ones, and then they got some kind of okay ones. So I think that but Sony shouldn't really feel compelled to do that, unless they feel like Google or Amazon are sniffing around, trying to do something. You know what I mean? And then I would hope that either Microsoft or Sony does that, because I'll probably likely always have an Xbox and a PlayStation, but I never will use a streaming service. So that's just how I feel about it.
Hey, crap. I just wanted to add on to a comment you responded to about a minute or two ago. I don't think Sony's going to like a games of a service model, because again, they're not selling their games for dollar deal or a burrito at Taco Bell, right? They're not advertising like that. So yes, they are selling their game for $60, now $70, but these games are selling like gangbusters. So they're making so much cash on hand.
Not only that, games as a service means that you're paying for the updates and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And Sony's not making anybody pay for like the Days Gone content that got added, or for this update for Ghost of Tsushima. Those are just things that developers did to keep people invested in those games long term. You know what I'm saying? But they're not charging you for that. So I feel like that's probably the biggest difference right there, in my opinion.
And they made their money up front with the $60, so they can go back and say, okay, we're gonna add a Spider-Man DLC or Ghost or factions, because I'm sure they made the development cost back very quickly. So factions is like, okay, this is just an extra treat for you guys.
Yeah,
it's not free.
I agree.
But...
James in the chat says games in Game Pass actually have a boost to the sales. I mean, that's not really proven. I think it's more smaller games that nobody gives a shit about. Might do that, but there is absolutely no correlation to a game like Gears 5 going in Game Pass and having more sales. If anything, that game tanked beyond tankage due to that being in Game Pass, right? So there's absolutely no proof that large games actually sell better that they're in Game Pass. Ooh. Now, some of the smaller stuff that nobody cares about, like that guy who has the bike game Descenders or whatever, who's always on Sony's ass, maybe because it's there. I mean, I even downloaded it and was trying, like, what the hell is this guy on? His game sucks, right? Yeah. But it's like, I'm not going to buy that game. You know what I'm saying? But maybe, like here's the thing. A shitty game like that maybe would have sold less than 1,000 copies. Maybe it sells, 1,100 copies or 1,500 copies. And they're like, we saw a 500% rise. Well, yeah, it's only 500 copies, though. Yeah. Exactly. So, again, I think that people, like, take that stuff out of context, whereas you look at Gears of War 5, right? Gears of War 5 was the lowest entry point ever in the NPD for a Gears of War game. How the hell did that sell more, supposedly, when the last Gears game, Gears 4, actually won an NPD for Microsoft in 2016? Okay, right. So that was the last time they won an NPD, by the way, was 2016. We're almost in 2021, mind you. But yeah, keep going ahead and thinking that everything that Microsoft has at Game Pass sells, quote unquote, better because it's a Game Pass, because I can promise you that's not the case. And I can promise you as well that as long as Xbox gamers have this mindset that I'll wait till stuff is a Game Pass, long term, I think you're going to see some developers pull out of Xbox altogether because it's not going to be worth it for them. Why do you think CD Projekt Red and Remedy made it such a point and emphasis to say our games aren't going in Game Pass? Why do you think they said that? Because they don't want to lose out on those sales. Now, if Game Pass was such a good deal for these big developers and stuff, I don't think they'd be saying that. So I think we could put to bed
head first.
Exactly. So people kind of wrongly assume that, and you got to understand that Phil Spencer's a businessman, and he's going to try to spin things to his narrative above all else.
Rightfully so.
Exactly. He's not going to go out there and say, he's not going to go out there and say, oh, well, games sell like shit. Big AAA sell like shit once they hit Game Pass. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to say that. You know, like it doesn't make sense to say that, but there is absolutely no evidence that big AAA games sell better once they're in Game Pass. Show me some proof of that.
Yep, and
you won't find any.
And crap, just to add to your point, while discoverability of these indie titles, do obviously go higher because hey, they're free. They're at no extra cost, right? Actually, on PlayStation, I've seen more examples this year of an indie game blowing up that's just on PlayStation, aka Fall Guys, aka Genshin Impact. So show me. I can't remember the last game that was an indie game that was on Game Pass that just blew up. I mean, the last one I can think was like 360 gen, and that was what was that motocross arcade game? I know everyone played it. It was Trials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, I can't think of anything on Game Pass that's been an indie that's like just blown up.
Well, that's the thing. Like that goes back to what Crap was saying. When you see that some of the developers came out and said, "Wow, we've done amazing on Game Pass. Thank God for Game Pass." Those are the smaller games. You really haven't seen like the makers of Devil May Cry 5 didn't come out and say, "Well, thank God we ended up on Game Pass. We made it.
Yep.
We made it." You know, like, that was a great deal that they cut with Microsoft to get in there. But again, not something where, and myself personally, you guys are all such big fans of talking about new games that are coming out. Like I see a lot of people in the chat are excited about Valhalla. I see a lot of people that are excited about Watch Dogs Legions, Call of Duty. These games aren't in Game Pass, right? You're buying them now. You're buying them new. And that's the thing. Like I myself personally, I have Game Pass because I did a $1 deal that takes us out to 2022, pardon me. But after that, I'm not gonna re-up Game Pass until I see a first-party game come out that I want. And at that point, I'll get it for a month. So instead of buying the game for $65, I'll get it for $10. I'll play it, I'll beat it, and I'll be done. And that's it. And then later on, you say, well, Mooch, wait a minute. What if it's a multiplayer game that you love? Well, then I'll just buy it outright, which Microsoft doesn't care. But that's my point. Like, but my issue, Game Pass just doesn't really matter that much to me. And it doesn't mean it doesn't matter to you. It might be amazing. It may be amazing, but I'm just saying for me personally, I don't want to wait until a game like third-party game drops in Game Pass. The idea of Game Pass for me that means the most at this point in time is the first-party studio games. And we have to wait a while till we see those go in. So the excitement for Game Pass until Microsoft starts dropping Avowed, and starts dropping Fable, and starts dropping, all these other, it's like, those are things that those are the things that excite me about Game Pass, and that's where your value comes from. The value of waiting, if maybe with your fingers crossed a third-party game's going to drop in there, I don't see it personally.
I don't either. And again, I think that maybe it'll be a thing in a few years. And it makes sense that Microsoft, they had to tie everything to services because that's what they do, which is a difference. I mean, these companies don't have to do everything exactly the same. And I get that, again, McDonald's and Burger King, they don't have to do everything exactly the same, and they can coexist or whatever. So I think there can be some coexisting going on. But I just think that on one hand, you have a lot of Xbox fans just kind of forcing the narrative that PlayStation is going to have to do the same exact things that Microsoft does. And that's not the case because Sony's very, very, they're very successful doing the things that they do the way that they do them. It wouldn't make sense for them to go chase what the market loser is doing, right? Like the reason why Microsoft is doing all these different things is simply because they tried it Sony's way and failed to do it. So, I think that that's completely the difference. But I do, again, also think that, that, Microsoft will be successful in doing what they want to do as well. Like their thing is different, but I think they'll be successful what they want to do. And if you've been an Xbox fan for the last few years and you're okay with like, no first party stuff for another few years, realistically, then you'll be fine. I think you'll be, and that's not me being a smartass either. That's like, if you're perfectly content and you're like, oh, Watch Dogs and Call of Duty and Madden and whatever.
That's all I've ever wanted. Well, there you go.
Fine. Then enjoy. Nobody's stopping you. I'm not telling you what to buy. Certainly buy what you want. Spend your own money how you see fit. That's on you.
I have a question for you since you say buy what you see fit. Can you please explain to me why would somebody at this point buy an Xbox Series S? Currently, we're hearing that it's underperforming at 900p at 60 frames on Yakuza and 1080p at 60 frames for Destiny. So this is supposed to be another next generation box. And again, I'm questioning it. I see some people in the chat. Guys, you got to remember something. I really enjoy to do a talk show. I love doing a talk show. I like going on both sides. I have a couple things here that we're going to talk about with PlayStation's party chat policy, and we'll get into how a bit of that got confusing, and some of it may be ridiculous, maybe not. But like I've been saying this for weeks, and I still haven't gotten an answer here. Crap, what's the sales pitch for the Xbox Series S at this point, now that we're seeing that resolutions, which I don't think resolution matters as much, but to get this 60 frame, this thing's going to be at 900p. Here we have everyone and their parents are taking pictures and putting it on Twitter of their CX OLED, right? I got my CX OLED, right?
I know I got mine.
Right? But everybody's except for you, everybody's posting the CX OLED, and they're like, I got it. And boy, that Series S is going to be great. Why? What is it? Who's excited for a Series S? I don't get it. I don't know. I get the cheaper price point.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that that's for the person that's buying those TVs, though. To be honest with you, I actually think that it's more along the lines of the people, maybe looking for that as a complementary console as well. Even Phil Spencer said that in that interview. He's like, he expects the Series S to be their big seller this generation, right? And the reason being was,
so that's
probably
focused on.
Yeah, it'll be like a value prospect for people that maybe already have a PS5 or whatever, and they want to play, Elder Scrolls 6 in a few years or in 5 years or whatever. I guess that's the pitch. So not everybody has a 4K TV, so I guess that could be part of the pitch as well. But you will have access to the next gen stuff, at least for a pretty decent price. I mean, it's the same price as a Switch, believe it or not. So.
Yeah, I got a couple of super chats here that kind of dive
super chatted it up. Yeah.
No. Yeah, MexJ88 says, I hate how everyone, thinks it's okay to just buy IPs left and right. The only IP Sony bought is Spider-Man, and all others have been created by
it. They have, they didn't buy the IP Spider-Man. I think they have some kind of deal with it or something like that.
Right.
With Marvel, because Marvel actually owns
I think his main point here is Microsoft's buying a ton of IP. Eventually, everyone's applauding that now, but eventually that could be where it's just top heavy, where everybody's just on one side. Then you're dependent on Microsoft to put these games out. Mr. Twister comes back and says Sony has $33 billion in cash reserves. Whether they like it or not, I think they will be forced to pick someone big up, or Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, etc. will. That's what I'm saying, Mr. Twister. I do agree with him on that point, crap. That's what I don't think it'll be somebody at 7.5 billion, but I could see them spending 500 million, 750 million, maybe upwards of 1 billion to acquire a studio with a few IP.
These companies are in a bit of a Cold War almost, or a studio war, because you do have some of these outside places like Google and Amazon now sniffing around. Like Mooch, who would you rather see buy up WB Games, Sony or Microsoft or Google, right? Like, I mean, obviously you'd rather have Sony or Microsoft. Like, who would you rather seen buy Bethesda, Amazon or Microsoft? Microsoft, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, I know people, and people get on me all the time for this because I say cloud gaming is shit, and people aren't accepting of it. Even David Cage, who is the guy from Detroit Become Human, said he thought that people would be much more willing to start using. He's surprised at the lack of interest and the lack of people using cloud gaming. he said it, right? He just did a recent interview, and he said he's really kind of surprised by it. Like, why should anybody be surprised about it? Like, people want to own their stuff. People want to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't maybe want to always have to be connected. Like, I don't understand why this is such a surprise that this stuff isn't working, or that Stadia is not working, or that xCloud's not working. I mean, if xCloud was really such a huge thing, they would have offered it on its own. You know, charge a price for it. But the fact is that they bundle it with Game Pass because they know probably wouldn't have done anything
people
without
won't
that.
buy it as a separate entity. And, Crap, you made a point on Crossfire to say, or I believe it was you. If it wasn't, I misspoke here. But somebody on the panel said that with xCloud now part of the Ultimate Game Pass, it's a part of Ultimate Game Pass, we don't see anyone talking about it. Now, there's so many more users that have the ability to use it right now, and you don't really see a lot of talk about it. Occasionally,
the influencers that got, the free phone or whatever.
But after their picture of their free phone, I haven't seen much.
Yeah.
Shout out to Glinster. He says casual. He's going back to the Series S, which I appreciate the question topic at hand. Casuals who don't know specs will buy Series S. Let me tell you something, Glinster. I think that's probably the right answer, but I think you're going to get a lot of disgruntled gamers when they get home.
Well, here's the thing. Casuals don't buy
a lot of games at 900p.
Casuals don't buy stuff at launch anyway. So that's kind of I don't agree with that. Second of all, you can still buy those in certain European countries right now. You can still pre-order that. So people weren't as quick on the uptake of that. I think people are a little bit smarter than what was given credit originally. And when you see the cost of the expanded storage, taking the cost of that thing past the cost of the Series X, I think a lot of people sort of like woke up a little bit, in my opinion. So,
yeah, no, I agree with you there, Crap. I mean, so that's my one thing. I don't know. I mean, Nova, do you know anybody that's picking up a Xbox Series S? I don't know. Like, even my casual friends, they've either said a Series X or a PS5. Like, the Series S is not even on their radar.
I got my man CC on my podcast. He bought 2 Series S's specifically to resale, and then he got 3 other X's because he bleeds green and all that. But yeah, I don't know anyone personally who's even knows about that console. Really, I mean, everyone knows about the Series X, and that's kind of an afterthought since it was released later. So, again, even though I do know that that's going to be the most sold Xbox console, it just no one's excited for it, really,
Yeah, I don't hear a lot of excitement. And it's funny, you can't go by the pre-order line because people that are doing pre-orders and waiting in line, like a lot of us did for the Series X, they're not gonna. That's the hardcore. The hardcore definitely wants the Series X. But it was funny. We the store near closest to me had 7 Xbox Series X's and two Xbox Series S's. And we had people in line, the 7 people, and then of course after that they were like, oh, so they were like, people kind of walk up to the line. They're like, what do they? How many they got? They go 7 X's and 2 S's, and they're like, oh, the 7 are spoken for, but you could grab an S. And they're like, nah, no thanks. Yeah. Like everyone was like, no thanks, nah. And then one guy, literally just before they opened at 11 a.m. that day, Eastern time, he's like, you know what? Are those S's spoken for? And everybody in line was like, no, nobody wants them. And he's like, I'll grab them. He's going to do what your friend said. He's like, I'll grab those and I'm going to resell them. He was going to resell them on eBay or something. Mm-hmm. So he ended up buying one just so he could resell it. But, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. I still don't know. We'll find out as launch goes down exactly how they do with that. Phil's probably right that it's going to be their best selling because of the price point. But when it comes down to it, you look at a Series S crap, that's 900p 60 frames. And then that same game for $100 more on the PS5 digital edition, for $100 more, you're going to get a game that's playing at 4K 60. It's just, I think Sony deliberately did the $399 price tag on the digital edition to counter the S, and it makes the S's shine a little less polished. It's just, it took a little shine off of that. I really think it did.
I agree. I agree with that. I think that sentiment is pretty right on, Yeah.
What do you think now, Crap? The whole thing with the PlayStation's new party chat policy, and I know Nova's had a bit of an issue with this too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like at first, so at first you thought, well, other people have it's not Sony recording them. Okay, great. It's not Sony recording them. But this is their official blog statement was, Once the PlayStation 5 console launches, if a PS5 player needs to file a harassment report, they'll be able to include up to a 40-second long voice clip in the report, 20 seconds of the main conversation with the other player, plus an additional 10 seconds before and after the conversation section. Only the most recent 5 minutes of a voice chat will be available for a player to use for this reporting function. The reports can be submitted directly through the PlayStation 5 console and will be sent over to their consumer experience team for moderation, who will then listen to the recording and take action if needed. Some supplemented reports won't be valid, and our team will take this as an opportunity to provide guidance and education. There won't be an option to opt out of this voice chat recording function because we want all users to feel safe when playing with others online, not just those who choose to enable it. So apparently they aren't really allowing people to kind of do that now. Just a minute ago on Twitter, they said, hey, folks, just wanted to let you know that we're looking into your feedback on the recent changes to parties. Thanks for speaking up. We'll keep you posted. So
do you think that they'll change?
I think that you have to be able to opt out if you don't want your voice being recorded. I don't see how they can just force that on people, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's kind of nonsense, to be 100% real. It's to me, it's just complete nonsense. And they should have never tried to do that. I get that you're trying to make things quote unquote safer, but if you're at a party with people, you can choose to leave or just kick them out or whatever if something's not going right. You know what I'm saying?
Options to get rid of the person. Also, the mute button should become a more used item, right? So you can mute that individual.
Exactly.
It is what it is. And it's funny because I just want to go back and Steven Gibson, shout out to Steven in the chat. He says dynamic 4K. He goes, don't pull a Cerny, Mooch. And I wrote him back and I said, listen, if we're talking about the same situation, Steven, it is just this. When it comes down to it, you got to take it up with the Valhalla developer and you got to take it up with the Watch Dogs developers because they're the ones that said 4K. They're saying 4K across the board on third party, and that's not a me problem. That's a them problem.
Yeah.
It's Stefan comes back and says, yeah, Series S upscales to 4K when outputting. Whatever, that's fine.
So does the One S.
Yeah, so does the One S. They all do that. So I was gonna say that again. It's specific to the box at hand, and I find it very interesting that I talk to so many hardcore gamers that are like, well, they defend the S, and then I'm like, are you buying the S? They're like, well, no. You know what I mean? It's like, well, all right, well, then I don't know. For me personally, for everyone that listens to the gaming podcasts and such, I don't know. I don't see where the S is something where I want to make a jump from this generation to next generation. And clearly for that to happen, for me personally, that's an Xbox Series X and that's a PlayStation 5.
Well,
go ahead, Nova.
Why would you get a Series S when you can play xCloud on your Samsung fridge? Right?
Exactly. And you know what the funny part was? I made jokes about that stuff, Mooch.
You did.
And
now people are doing it.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Full circle, right? Crap.
Yeah. Again, who really cares about that to be, who really cares about that? I just think that's stupid. I'm just going to be honest. Console gamers want to play on their big TVs. These games are designed for big TVs with high fidelity and HDR and all this kind of cool stuff. And any place other than that, you're just really just kind of hurting yourself, as far as I'm concerned. So,
shout out to JudaZuk in the super chat. He says, "What if Sony buys a Sobo studio? That makes Microsoft Flight Simulator." When he says a wink emoji ? Sony could swoop in and do something like that. I mean, it's very clear that Asobo definitely has a relationship.
They're supposed to be supporting that flight sim for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
I don't see that. I mean, really funny thought there by JudaZuk, but no, I don't see that happening. I think that Sony will be making some buys, crap, whether they wanted to originally or not. And it's not because
I think so too.
I think it's because of the talent, right? It's my XFL NFL comparison. There's only so much great talent out there. So if Microsoft continues to scoop up a lot of teams and a lot of IP, Sony's got to counter with a few. It doesn't have to be on the same scale as far as the quantity IP they're going to get, but they've got to go out there and pull buys like they did with Insomniac. And that may be Blue Point. That may be, like you said, a couple of those Remedy, Kojima. Listen, if you didn't like Death Stranding, fine.
No problem.
I liked it. If you didn't like it, I didn't love it. I liked it. I'll tell you this much. Kojima made that game crap after all the disgruntled nonsense that was going on. Okay, all that stuff that was going on with him and Konami. He breaks apart. He makes a studio.
Yeah.
And creates a game in 3 years of that quality, the way that game looked. You can go ahead and say that there wasn't a lot going on. That's fine. But the game looked beautiful. It has an unbelievable audience that love that game. They're still tweeting out pictures of it today. So what I'm saying to you is you pick up a Kojima Productions, that's a talented team. Now, what the new IP would be, who knows? Maybe something in the Silent Hills. Maybe it'll be something, right? Something similar to what we saw with PT. And Kojima has unbelievable ties now with Hollywood.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. You don't think that's a big deal? It's a big deal. Norman Reedus being in Death Stranding, Norman Reedus being a part of what PT was going to be, that was huge, crap. That was huge. And that's the kind of stuff that I look forward to. TEZ83 from We All Made PlayStation Nation. Shout out to TEZ83. He says, sorry for being late. Crap's my friend on PlayStation right now. Mooch, add me. You're great. Think about this.
I gotta say, man, I gotta say, I've been very, very welcomed on the PlayStation side of things. It feels very good because right now for me, and I get it, but it's not just so much the friends thing on Xbox. Like a lot of my friends that I had on Xbox have left and now are on PlayStation. But a lot of the PlayStation community is very welcoming. They message you, they interact with you, they just really cool people.
I've been getting a lot of trophies, and every time I get trophies, I get messages and likes on the trophies. And Mooch, what do you think about this and what's going on? So, yeah, I mean, I got to say, shout out to – I've gotten that for years on the Xbox side, but to see the PlayStation gamers, it's been a lot of fun interacting with the community on the PlayStation side. T-Easy, do me a favor. Just let me know what your PSN name is. If it's T-Easy83, I'll add it right now. But I want to finish his super chat. He said, think about this. Sony should pick up Blue Point, let them remake any classic Sony games they see fit. That's exactly the rationale. The rationale. Look at the amazing work that Blue Point didn't. Blue Point have a lot to do, with the Halo 2 remaster.
I don't know. I don't think they had anything to do with Halo 2. I think that they.
Pretty sure they did in the Halo Master Chief Collection. Remember, Halo 2 was the one that was the remaster that was focused on.
Well, according to this, they've had.
I thought it was Blue Point.
They've done. Blue Point did PlayStation. They helped out with development with PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, God of War Collection, Ico Shadow of the Colossus.
Yep.
They completely did the Shadow of the Colossus remake. They also did Uncharted Nathan Drake Collection and the Demon Souls remake.
Well, I stand corrected then, I guess.
Yeah. They also did, believe it or not, they ported Titanfall to Xbox 360.
Wow.
I know that sounds weird. I mean, it's a good port, but it just runs 30 frames per second or whatever. So, yeah.
These guys are very talented. The work that they're doing. Demon Souls, oh, my God, dude. And you guys can say whatever you want.
It looks great, no doubt. Yeah.
I can't wait to play that game, and I'm a Souls fan. Shout out to MexJ88. Really appreciate these super chats, guys. It means the world to the Mooch. Thank you. He says, what if Sony acquires Konami IP or From Software? That's Mex. Thank you for bringing that up. That was the one thing that I don't hear anybody say is if they were able to acquire From Software. But the thing about with From Software, as unbelievably talented as that dev team isn't it Bandai Namco that owns all of the Souls series? Are they the ones that have the rights to it, or is it truly From Software that has that right? Crap. You know,
Sony owns Demon Souls.
They own Demon Souls, but not the Dark Souls
and Bloodborne. Yeah. So
right. But that MexJ88, I like where your head's at. That was one of the acquired companies I thought, and I left it off my list, is From Software. That's an unbelievable. Not only is it an unbelievable dev team, but the allegiance of gamers that love the work from Software. Crap, I'm telling you. I know, again, I understand it's not your bag. I get it. But it's really, that is an unbelievable set of IPs. So shout out to MexJ88. Mr. Twister's back. He says, guys, don't forget the rumor from February that Sony wanted to acquire Bethesda. Everyone laughed. I think Microsoft found out and decided to outbid Sony.
I don't think they found out. I mean, it just comes down. Yeah, it just kind of comes down. I mean, it could be, but I just think that they were at a low point. Like Microsoft bought them low for sure. Their games coming out weren't exactly lighting up the charts, And there were rumors that they could even been getting ready to shut down studios or cancel games or lay off people. So Microsoft was smart, like did the good thing, did the right thing, went in there and bought them out or whatever. And now if you want to play them, hey, there's a box for you, or there's a PC for you, or whatever.
An S and an X
or
for
there's a refrigerator for you. Whatever
for you.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, whatever you want to do, if you think about it, you know what I mean? Like nobody's really kind of stopping you from being able to play that game. Yeah, it is a little bit indicative of what Phil has said before, where he doesn't want to take stuff away from gamers that's already been out there. But this is Phil Spencer. This is the same guy who said we want to set a better expectations for our fans than having them think our games are going to go to Switch, and then 4 months later Ori 2 goes to Switch. Okay, so I mean, like you got to look at the source before you can really kind of comment on anything else.
You know what I can't wait for? And I think everybody in the chat is ready too. I think all you guys are ready for this. I know Crap has got to be ready for it, Nova. I'm just ready for the consoles to come out. And I don't mean that on the top layer. I don't mean, oh, yay, we get to play the games. I don't mean that. Once the consoles come out, Crap, all these articles and all this stuff, it all goes away.
That's going to be the exciting part for sure. Yeah,
it is. I'm done with the Phil said this. Let's see what happens then. You know what I mean? Or Sony said this. Let's see what happens then. When the consoles come out and the games come out, the games and the sales and the I don't want to say meta score. I don't really care about the meta as much as a lot of people do. But the fan reaction is what really matters, and all of this nonsense goes away. It all goes away.
Well, Mooch, I do want to add to that. I'm sure we're all excited for that. We'll finally know everything it is about these consoles during launch. I mean, something when I had Hip Hop Gamer on my show, he mentioned, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a possible SOCOM game that he may or may have not seen. That we've heard a lot about this Metal Gear. Something going on with Metal Gear. We know a remaster's coming to PC, so there's something on the PlayStation side we could possibly be seeing. We know that, according to him, we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg of what this PS Now reorganization is going to be for the PS5. I mean, we did see a little bit of the UI, but we didn't see that and how it's been built from the ground up and how it's completely restructured the PSN store. And going back to PS Now, I'm hearing we're in for a lot of new surprises to see what that entails. We know that a lot of these older games they stop support on the PSN store. Well, what's going to happen with those? We know that PS Now is now running on Azure service. So
that's right.
Are we going to see PS1, 2, and 3 games come back? Maybe so.
Yeah, and shout out to the Red Dragon. He goes, and then it's down. I think he's following up with my comment. He goes, then it's down to Digital Foundry's 800% zoomed in videos, and that's what it will be. And that's what it'll be.
Like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing the screenshots. Like that'll tell a lot. Like on day one, I expect to see a lot of Miles Morales, Demon Souls, Destruction. We're going to see a lot of screenshots, and then I think on the Xbox side, you're probably going to see some screenshots of Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs or what have you. You know what I mean? Like I don't expect to see any Falconer screenshots. You're not going to be screenshotting that shit. So don't even lie. So,
I'm looking here. Capone says that Mooch. Anyone on the panel already SSD for PS5 yet? I don't know what he means by that. As far as if you're talking about the extended SSDs or the extended.
No, I haven't bought one yet.
No, yeah, I don't find great little lead in right there, Capone. I like where you went with that. I've said this on a number of shows. I'll say it again. I don't think for the first year on either console you have to worry about external support. Wait till next year and then get it. Shout out to the Red Dragon. He goes, don't forget that bird game crap. The Falconeer. I don't think you need to worry about that. You're gonna have plenty of room on that for your games that are in 2020 into 2021. Next Christmas or next holiday, worry about getting yourself a external drive for the cost of an Xbox Series S. You know what I mean? Like you don't need that at this stage of the game. I don't personally think that. Think about it. If you were to go into the PlayStation 5 launch era, right? So you're going to go ahead and grab Ultimate Edition Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Demon Souls, and let's say you get the Sackboy game. You're well under the 600 plus gig hard drive space that you're going to have on there. Load it up, load those games on, and then as you beat them, just erase them. Just like when you get done platinuming the remaster of Spider-Man Ultimate, you're not going to play it again immediately right after. So just enjoy the games as they come through. Delete the ones you're not playing, and then next year when the prices come down a little bit, then you get yourself an external for Xbox and for PlayStation. You just don't need that right now. You just don't need it. I mean, just like I said, play the game you want to play and then delete the game. Or you have another option where you go, Mooch, I don't want to keep deleting games. I have a band cap here. I can't keep doing that with my internet. I have a cap. Okay, in that case, don't delete it. Take your 3.0 external that you currently have for your PlayStation or Xbox currently, and just move the game over to your external, and then re-download it from your external to your internal when you're ready to play it again. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's what I'll do since I have so much space with the regular USB drive. I'll probably for a while just kind of transfer and go back. It supposedly goes much faster anyway than it used to before. So yeah,
makes sense. So
hold on. Pointless View says, crap. You were an Xbox fanboy before Phil Spencer made you feel pathetic. Now you moved to PlayStation. You're such a chump. I'll address this real quick just because I feel like it's worth addressing. If you're talking about the whole cancel your pre-order thing, that was from 2016. Anybody can check the channel. I clearly supported Xbox well into 2019. I started having some misgivings due to the fact that they weren't actually putting out AAA exclusives. I mean, let's be real. It's easier to sit there and say, oh, Phil Spencer did this to you, crap, and that's why you don't like Xbox. Or, that's really kind of making excuses for Xbox. Let's just look at the facts. If you're making excuses and thinking that's the reason why I went to PlayStation, you're probably extremely mistaken. They haven't released a single AAA exclusive this entire year. I bought thousands of dollars worth of Xbox stuff this generation. I bought an Xbox One X for $550. I bought, they've released 3 AAA exclusives in that time. They have 0 AAA exclusives to launch their next-gen hardware. They have 1 AAA game tentatively scheduled for next year, which is Halo. So, again, if you think it's about something like that happened almost 5 years ago, when clearly on my channel, and you can even go check, my videos were very pro-Xbox until 2019, when that E3, and Mooch, we were live, right? How disappointed was I when that E3 happened, 2019?
Walked away pretty, I mean, it was a lackluster showing.
Exactly. So, again, they were the ones that went from having great games and having really good games. And at that point, I was disappointed with Sony, and I let them know it. Sony had no exclusives. They didn't have anything I was interested in. I was hard on them. And then Microsoft basically gave up. And so I've been hard on Microsoft. And again, they still have nothing. But if it's easier for you to believe that because Phil Spencer said on Twitter that I canceled the game because somebody else can play it, then, hey, if that makes you feel better, that's fine. It's still not going to get you any exclusives to play at launch or this entire year in the AAA space. But, hey, if it makes you feel better, go for it.
Right. No, and I'm glad you addressed that crap. I mean, one last topic here before we enjoy our Sunday football.
Can't play a rumor, Pointless Views. What can I say? Can't play a rumor.
Can't play a rumor. This is very true. Last I checked, crap. But, when you look at the 2 UIs out there, you got the PlayStation 5 UI that was revealed this past week. And then you see what we've seen 2-3 weeks ago from Xbox. Xbox, basically, we have the new UI currently. Maybe an update will still come out or a patch on day one with the Series X. But basically, what we're seeing now through these recent updates is very similar to what we'll have. Is this another? I mean, does it matter? Does the UI really matter? I always kind of clump the UI into the new. We have a new controller, right, with Sony. We have a new UI with Sony. You have a very, very, you could say controversial, or you could say a very artistic-looking console itself, where the Xbox went with a very traditional look. Xbox went with the same controller. Xbox has the same UI that we have currently. I don't know. I'm just saying, Sony, when you get home with the PS5, feels like a whole new experience coming out of the box. And with Xbox, it feels like a very, very similar continuation of the Xbox One X. What's your feeling overall?
I actually I love the PlayStation 5 UI. I think it's very sleek. It's familiar but completely fresh. I love the picture-in-picture aspect. That's something we asked Microsoft to do years ago. I like the fact that, if you opt into it, you can watch what your friends are playing, or, I also love the fact that they went from being in a game of Little Big Planet to being in a multiplayer match in 7 seconds. right? Like that's incredible. I mean, what did you think?
Oh, I was extreme. I was impressed with the whole thing. I like the options that they presented to us. I like the picture-in-picture. I like the quick resume. I like the cards that they had at the bottom there. I said this, guys, by no means. You guys know this, right? Like, I enjoy the game for the game. But, like, I have gotten a little bit more into trophy hunting than I did with achievements. Like I said, once you get to a certain point with achievements, you're kind of like, okay, I'm at 50,475. And then you're like, woo, I did it. I did it. What'd you do? I'm at 51,490. It didn't feel like I was really getting anything. Like, I like the trophies better. I like getting games where you get the bronze, the silver, the gold, and then eventually the platinum. So one of the things in the new UI is the gamer help, or whatever they're calling it, gamer help guide. I'm paraphrasing. That's not the actual term. But you can click on that, and then the world you're in, if there's trophies available, not only does it show you how far you are, which Xbox has done for a while, it gave you progress report on how far or close you were to the achievement. Now Sony has that, but on top of that, it also gives you a help guide on how to maybe get that trophy. It's interesting. Like, so if you're a trophy,
like it, it tells you, oh, you're 10 minutes away from finishing this level or whatever. I think that can be extremely helpful.
It definitely does. Like, I'll give you an example. I was on chapter 5 last night of The Order 1886. I'm trying to get the platinum in that one. That's not a very hard platinum to get, but like, I'm enjoying it because it's like a werewolf story, and it's during the Jack the Ripper's time, and it's the whole Halloween theme thing. I'm just digging it. But like, I was sitting there and I was like, man, I really want to watch this scary movie that we were going to watch. I'm like, but how much longer is this chapter? It'd be cool to just go in there and be like, well, you got about 15 minutes left. You know what I mean? Like, that's a cool thing to just know, so you can finish it and you don't just save mid-chapter and then lose your place or your mindset the next time you pick up the game. Oh, it's like, oh, let me finish this chapter. It's only 15 more minutes. You know what I mean? I don't know. Myself personally, I thought that there was just some really cool things that we saw that are next generation, and they didn't even show us all of it. They did a 10-minute showing. It was very, very top level.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Like it also says closing out games plural, so it looks like they got some. They have some suspend resume stuff as well. I think they're probably saving that for a little bit later date. The interesting thing about it that I really enjoyed was it looks like you can cold boot in less time than it takes to quick resume on Xbox as a whole. So that to me was huge. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know, Nova, what was your take on it? Were you impressed by the PS5 UI, or was it something where you go, okay, great, don't care?
No, I definitely liked how like simple and modern. I think less is always more, and when you see something like this, I never had a problem with the PS4 UI. My only issue was the speed. Right, you'd load up the PSN store, and you'd be sitting there like, oh my gosh, when is this thing gonna start? And it kind of like discourages you from even like using some of these services that take a little longer. But now that I see that it just it's so fast, you get to where you want to be. And I'm excited to see what they do with themes with this, to be honest with you. So we haven't seen that yet, but that's something exciting to look forward to.
Yeah, that is something that I'm looking forward to, and I hope that they keep that, because the themes, I got to be honest with you, so you guys can go ahead and say it's crazy, but like, I keep themes up on my console, on my PS4 for so long that I still have the Last of Us 2 dynamic theme that I got with the pre-order of the Ultimate Edition there that I picked up, and man, the music and the art on it, it's amazing. I had the one for Ghost of Tsushima. And I think that's a big part of it. Like, I don't know about you guys, but between games and hanging out, you're always on your dashboard, right? Or you're seeing what your friends are doing. And to be able to have that theme and that theme music, it's a big deal. So I really hope that Sony does keep the themes. I totally think they will, Nova. I know they didn't show it, but I think they're going to keep that.
Do they have that on Xbox? Is it just same way? I'm
Xbox doesn't have themes. They have they're doing something right now with these design themes. I guess that opens the door for them to do themes like PlayStation, but they don't currently have any.
Wow, I always assumed that they had like the same thing pretty much. So,
what do you got, Crap?
Nothing. I just, what I haven't. It's just funny seeing people in the chat. It's like I see this on Twitter too. People are like, 2021 is going to be huge for Xbox, and I'm like, what do they have scheduled to come out? And then everybody gets real quiet.
I've been seeing you texting people, and you're literally saying in the chat, you're like, guys, tell me what's coming in 2021,
please.
And there's Halo rumored to be coming holiday, right? Maybe.
Yeah, that's the only one that's scheduled. That's the only game scheduled for 2021 for Xbox. The only one.
And that's what I'm saying when people say, Mooch, believe me, guys, I mean this with I have a Series X coming and I have a capable PC to play Xbox games. I just, a shout out to I Paint House. He says, keep yelling, Mooch. Don't let others tell you not to. You're Mooch, damn it. Absolutely, buddy. I will continue to be me. Shout out to Rob Jones as well. He's a big fan of the channel. Shout out to Robbie. But yeah, crap. Like, the thing about it is I ask people, can you please tell me? Could you please tell me what is it you're excited about for Xbox? And of course, you'll have somebody in the chat say Falconeer, which that they kind of mean that. That doesn't mean they don't want to play it, but nobody's really excited to plunk down $500 to play Falconeer. So what is it? That's like I'll give you an example, just to be fair on both sides. That's like saying I can't wait to play the PlayStation 5. Why? Sackboy Adventure or just Destruction All Stars. That's it. I can't wait for Destruction All Stars. That's
Pointless Views goes, Halo Infinite, Starfield plus unannounced games. Guy, listen.
Yeah, but Pointless, anybody can say that then.
I mean, you saying Starfield, like that means nothing because there's not even a hint that game's releasing next year. In fact, they said that they're years away from, we could be years away from that. What unannounced games? Don't you think if Microsoft would have had something close to launching, they would have showcased that instead of stuff like a CGI trailer for State of Decay 3, which is in pre-production, not even in production, but pre-production? Don't you think they would have showcased stuff if it was that close? I think they would have. Like the fact that they're not, that's concerning.
When's Bright Memory coming out?
It's a launch, but it's a timed indie. It's like a AA game.
Yeah, that's timed. And shout out to a U of M student. He says, Mooch, the medium's also timed.
December 10th, and that's a AA little timed game. Again, I'm saying
it doesn't mean you're not excited for it.
Yeah, listen. When you hear people say, I'm going to get me an Xbox or a PlayStation for Miles Morales, Spider-Man or Demon Souls or Gran Turismo or Ratchet and Clank or Horizon 2 or God of War, like nobody. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like those are big level games, man.
Even if you don't listen, let me just say, crap, guys in the chat that are not agreeing with crap, just hear me out. Listen to what he's saying for the games. You don't have to like the games. You could hate Spider-Man and you could hate God of War, and you can hate Horizon, and you can hate all of those games. You can hate, but do you hear what he's trying to say? All he's saying is that's where a lot of the excitement is laying right now. And games like the Medium, which I think the Medium looks pretty good, but it's not something that like I'm drooling to play. I'm not like that's not a game that I'm like
I couldn't give a shit. Like, and the thing is, what the Medium's probably going to get shit on by reviews, which again I agree reviews aren't the be all end all, but Bloober Team has done nothing to make you think that this is going to be an exciting game or a game to really get excited about. They do these little 4-hour, again, walking simulator horror type things that, 60 to 70 rated stuff. And people, I think, that are really thinking they're going to be, again, this is a 30 frames per second game. There's no combat in this game. I just think people that are building this up they're not going to be really happy with the end result when it comes out. But man, those 2 hours flew by, Mooch.
I'm sorry, yeah, but shout out to the Ray Dragon. He goes, you can beat Bright Memory in under 45 minutes. Yeah. And Bright Memory was a game that was on the PC, so that's how he's answering that question.
Guys, Bright Memory is part of Bright Memory Infinite. I don't think Bright Memory Infinite releases. Bright Memory is like a little slice of that game or whatever. Right. You know what I mean? And that's been out on Steam for a while now. So yeah, keep that in mind too. So that was developed by one person or something. Now it's more than one person. He's got like people working for him or whatever. So.
Exactly. Like Crap said, the 2 hours just absolutely flew by. We went right through.
You know more about this team than me, man. The Eagles seem like they aren't very good.
No, the Eagles are not very good. Are you guys playing the Eagles?
Yeah, it's 17-0.
I'm not paying attention. I'm just watching the show and everything. So no, I will say this much. That's not good for me. I have Wentz on my fantasy team. There goes that.
Oh, he's already been sacked like 3 or 4 times, man. And he fumbled.
I can't wait to see that negative number already on my bench. That being said, guys, we've had an amazing show tonight. Just outstanding. Thank you to everybody.
It's been good, yeah.
I did catch that last super. I thought there was one super chat I may have missed. Glinzer says, will PlayStation 4, Xbox One games outsell the new gen versions? Is he saying like games that are cross generation crap?
What do you mean?
He's saying that will the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 games outsell the new gen versions?
I don't know. I don't know because I expect PlayStation 5 to sell a shit ton of consoles at first. So I don't think in general people buy games on Xbox, but I think that there's a possibility that the PS5 versions will outsell the PS4 versions because you have the hardcore that usually buy stuff pretty much right away. So I could definitely see a situation like that happen individually. Maybe not everything, but in some instances, possibility.
Shout out to James. He says, have a good one, everyone. James, thanks for being here today. Guys, outstanding show. Shout out to the Red Dragon that was here. We had so many great guys. King Thresh Gaming stopped by. Saltiest Gaming stopped by. Saw a bunch of you guys. Nukem. And then all of the Mooch Maniac family members that were here. WoolleyGamer, a bunch of you guys all supporting the channel. Guys, it means so much to me that you guys are here. I will say this much. There'll be more for me to announce in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But I was telling Crap this yesterday. Mooch is doing a complete overhaul to Crossfire. It's going to be looking very different. Also, my Twitch streams are going to be looking very different. I'm doing a lot of work behind the scenes with some very talented people, and I'm looking forward to showing this all to you. So, guys, please do hit the subscribe button. Please do become a part of the Mooch Maniac family member. And I got news for you. You're going to see a lot of great changes just as the new consoles are coming out. Mooch is changing a lot of the things around on the channel to make it more fun and more interactive with you guys in the chat. That being said, guys, let me say, Crap Gamer, it is always an absolute blast to talk games, especially on Sunday morning on the MNC show. Let people know a little bit about where they can find you.
Crap Gamer Reviews, that's the best place to find me. Very much appreciate it. You guys are awesome.
Appreciate that, Crap. And then Nova Insomniac Podcast. That is an amazing show. Nova, your talents are unbelievable. We love what you do here on the MNC show. But let people know where they can find you, buddy.
Everyone can find me every Thursday at 7 o'clock at youtube.com/Nova Insomniac. Check us out, Insomniac's podcast. We do it every week, and we have fun doing it. Again, Mooch, thanks for being letting me be a part of this. Looking forward to what's coming next.
Appreciate that, Nova. And if you don't mind, let's enjoy some games today, guys. Enjoy the Halloween mood. Try to play a creepy game if you can, a scary game if you can. Watch a movie. Catch your football, local football. Don't watch the Giants. They're not doing so good. We'll see. We're hoping for a draft pick, Crap. At this point, I want to say enjoy your Sunday, guys. And Nova, if you will, take us out.
All right. Catch y'all next week.